Chapter 1432. The humanoid statue told Gu Qingshan to choose between surrendering or death. Because of that, from the very beginning, Gu Qingshan had already made various preparations. However, as soon as the wraith descended from above and declared, "Since you're so noisy, you can all die," Gu Qingshan immediately overturned all of her plans. "Sir Ouroboros, do not speak or attack." After saying that to the chaos of Serpent's King, his body slowly shrank and turned back into the orange cat. The chaos, Serpent's King, was also a sharp one, so as soon as it heard that, it retracted all of the white light and went back into the orange cat's body without making a single sound. Night had just descended. The orange cat directly used ghostly shadow of night, borrowed spotless jade from the jade pendant adorable, and vanished without a trace. Without a single cat, only a wraith and a statue remained in the desert. "It's only a temporary disappearance. You won't be able to escape," the humanoid statue coldly said. It turned to Red Wraith and continued, "You have 3 breaths worth of time to choose whether you live or die." Red Wraith laughed maniacally and shouted, "A mere apocalyptic device dares to make this old man choose whether I live or die." Red Wraith touched the wound on his neck with his hand, then quickly drew a talisman in the void of space using the heavenly being's blood. The blood-colored talisman was instantly formed, then turned into a crescent-white color that coldly illuminated the humanoid statue. Supreme heavenly talisman, moon. The desert that was illuminated by the moonlight instantly turned into ice crystals that gave off frigid air. Crack, 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 crack. As the moonlight grew brighter, intense noises began to resound around the statue. It was as if something invisible was slowly being destroyed. "So, it was a remnant of the samsara. Very well. I've finally caught one," the humanoid statue spoke in a low voice, its tone exuding a sense of killing intent. "Messenger, the number 796 parallel world had been completely destroyed, no information obtained. The number 1539 parallel world and number 65 parallel world are currently in a state of fusion, discovered remnant of the samsara, requesting to be killed. I repeat, discovered remnant of the samsara, requesting to be killed." While listening, Red Wraith's hands continued to draw blood-colored life talismans in the void of space. He laughed wildly. "The world has long been isolated. Your message can't be sent out." The 2 blood talismans were quickly formed, and he immediately activated them. Supreme Celestial Talisman, for Saints. Supreme Celestial Talisman, Palace Sacrifice. Together with Moon Palace, 3 immortal talismans can't break your doomsday barrier. Red Wraith pointed at the humanoid statue and shouted, "Quick!" In an instant, the entire desert disappeared, and another world suddenly appeared. This was a dilapidated palace. Under the illumination of the moonlight, it seemed desolate and lifeless. There was not a single soul in the Jade Palace. The human-shaped stone statue was stuck in a square in front of the palace, stuck on a bare jade altar. Around the altar, the azure dragon, the white tiger, the vermilion bird, and the black tortoise stood in a corner, staring at the human-shaped stone statue. Boundless might descended upon them, as if they had come to life. Life, death, transformation, revolution, it all depends on your luck. Red Wraith clasped his hands behind his back. Among the 4 giant statues, the white tiger slowly opened its eyes. The white tiger statue slightly lowered its head to stare at the human-shaped stone statue. Red Wraith shook his head. "The white tiger's master is life and death, yet you managed to gain its favor. How fortunate!" The white fox divine beast opened its mouth and spat out a faint golden ray of light that struck the human-shaped stone statue. Crack! A series of shattering noises resounded. Under the white tiger's gaze, the invisible barrier around the human-shaped stone statue completely shattered. The chaos, Serpent's King's numerous frenzied attacks couldn't break through the doomsday barrier, but it was directly shattered by Red Wraith's 3 immortal talismans. Following that, cracks began to spread all over the human-shaped stone statue. It was also about to be destroyed. This level of power already requires the use of an even more powerful apocalypse. The human-shaped stone statue muttered. Then its body abruptly turned into a dark yellow fog that began to boil and surge like a surging tidal wave, as if it was preparing for something. While the orange cat was silently watching, the Chaos Serpent's King's voice suddenly resounded in his ears. "Should we consider acting now?" "Why not?" Guqing Shan asked. "It's evolving. I didn't think it would still carry the power of evolution," the Chaos Serpent's King replied. "What will happen?" "It was originally an unsolvable apocalypse, but it will soon evolve into an unlivable apocalypse. That would be troublesome. We might not be able to deal with it," the Chaos Serpent's King replied. The orange cat took a step forward, then stopped. "I'm ready to join the battle at any moment. Just be a bit more patient. Are those 3 immortal talismans really that powerful? You also attacked the barrier. Why couldn't you break it?" Guqing Shan asked. The Chaos Serpent's King replied. "You're wrong. The Doomsday Barrier only manifested when I attacked. It was specifically manifested to counter my type of attack, so I couldn't break it. It wasn't because that wraith was stronger than me, so it was a causality-type defensive barrier." Indeed, while the two of them conversed, something else happened on the battlefield. Seeing the human-shaped stone statue turning into a faint yellow fog, Red Wraith's voice instantly became violent. "You still want to evolve in front of me? Dream on." Red Wraith touched the Yiksha mask with his blood-stained finger. Sha! The Yiksha on the mask disappeared. The orange cat was surprised. In the Wraith realm, every guy's hex is guaranteed to hit. So what was Red Wraith guy's hex? The jade altar gave off a cold light that illuminated the boiling yellow fog, causing it to be unable to move. After the white tiger opened its eyes earlier, the 4 divine bee statues had fallen silent. But after Red Wraith unleashed the guy's hex, the statues once again gave off an indescribable sense of power. Life, death, transformation, rotation. "Let us do it again. Let us see what kind of fate you will receive," Red Wraith coldly declared. Among the 4 statues, the Azure Dragon statue abruptly opened its eyes and looked down at the fog of plague on the jade altar. Red Wraith smirked and said, "Azure Dragon Lord with life, you're done for this time." The Azure Dragon statue opened its mouth and lightly exhaled a 5-colored aura. Ho! This colorful aura enveloped the yellow fog, turned into a gust of wind, and directly flew out of the altar, landing on an empty field outside the plaza. As soon as it landed, this aura had turned into a small sapling, then quickly grew into a tree so large that it would take several people to fully wrap their arms around it. It was completely impossible to tell that this tree was once an apocalypse. If there was any indication, it would be that this tree appeared to be a bit more withered compared to the trees around it. Tree! The orange cat's eyes flickered as he looked around, only to see that the vast expanse of land outside the plaza was filled with various trees, forming a forest that stretched as far as the eye could see. Could it be all of these are the things that were sealed here? What kind of unimaginable power is this? The orange cat turned to look at the ruined palace. Completely empty. There were no signs of life at all. Instantly, the scenery changed. The palace, the moonlight, the altar, the statues of the 4 divine beasts, the plaza, and the forest all disappeared without a trace. The orange cat found himself back in the desert. Red Wraith also returned with him. After using Red Wraith's Yiksha mask, it had returned to its original form, but the Yiksha appearance on it had become a bit dimmer. "I remember there was someone else just now." Red Wraith looked around and muttered. The orange cat was crouching not too far away, coldly staring at him. The Chaos Serpent's King's voice suddenly resounded in his ears. "This is a powerful enemy. Should we stay or leave?" As soon as it asked that question, Red Wraith had already reached his hand out, cut open his neck, and dipped it in blood again. Apparently, he was about to draw another talisman. The orange cat's gaze became sharp. "What a joke! If that talisman from before was used again, how am I supposed to deal with it?" "I'm going to kill him," Guqing Shan told the Chaos Serpent's King. Chapter 1433. An austere aura enveloped the desert. Red Wraith lowered his head, his killing intent growing stronger and stronger. "If I hide, I'll be fine." As it muttered, it stretched out its finger and quickly drew a line across the void of space. Blood splashed as the life talisman formed. Not too far away, the orange cat's fur was standing on end. "There's no time to run. If you want to fight, let's fight. I'll go first," the chaos serpent said quickly. Holy white light flew out and formed a sea of light in the sky. As soon as it left the orange cat's body, it appeared in the void of space. "This is Ouroboros the Aweda?" Red Wraith was startled for a split second, then immediately scattered the blood-colored talisman in his hand to form another talisman. The white light spread throughout the world, shining upon Red Wraith's body. Chaos Divine Skill, Azure Sky Slash. Clang, 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 clang. Red Wraith's armor gave off a series of clanking noises. It was beaten back again and again, blood spurting out of its mouth. "You want to kill me? Die." Red Wraith angrily roared and quickly finished drawing the blood talisman. A cold, moon-white light surged out of the talisman and met the holy white light that filled the sky. Hum! The sound of the collision, which was indiscernible by humans, converged into a vast roar. The orange cat took another few steps back and quickly thought of a solution. "Shanu, can the life talisman be broken?" he asked. "You can break it, but the life talisman will activate as soon as it's drawn, unless you hit the life talisman first. You won't make it in time." Shanu also understood the urgency of the situation and quickly told him. "It's difficult, it casts talismans too quickly." Gu Qingshan shook her head and said, "Earth Sword, how much soul points do I need to kill it?" Shanu asked. The Earth Sword spoke with a heavy tone. "I can already sense that Gu Qingshan doesn't have enough soul points to kill it, because this body isn't a wraith's body, but a different kind of corpse. Other types of corpses?" Gu Qingshan asked curiously. "Indeed, an unimaginably powerful entity left behind this body after death, which Red Wraith possessed," the Earth Sword replied. Gu Qingshan sighed. In that case, he could only meet force with force. If he could use Heaven's Choice, Gu Qingshan looked in her thoughts sea, only to see that the Heaven Sword was still sleeping. "Let's get ready," Gu Qingshan said. Suddenly, the Chaoyin sword let out a faint buzzing sound. "Young master, wait," the Chaoyin sect asked. "Doesn't a wraith's life talisman consume vitality? Why is it able to release so many powerful life talismans without killing anyone?" Shanu asked. The flying swords and the orange cat both looked towards the center of the battlefield. In the distance, the battle in the desert had entered the most dangerous phase. Seeing that the two lights were locked in a stalemate, a weak light flew out from the holy white light. This weak light trembled slightly and suddenly turned into a scorching sun. It released balls of raging flames like rain and rained down like storm. Chaos Divine Skill, Azure Fire. Along the way, all the cold light was completely burned away. Red Wraith wasn't flustered at all and excitedly declared, "Good." It stopped drawing talismans and took out a blood-colored talisman from its inventory bag. Quick! The blood-colored talisman was thrown out. It drifted with the wind and instantly burned to ashes. Over 1,000 wraiths appeared out of thin air, wielding various weapons to receive the cluster of azure fire. They either fought against the azure fire or directly leapt towards it and perished together with it. Several of the strongest wraiths surrounded Red Wraith, carefully protecting him. Wraith Life Talismans, 1,800 wraiths. Laughable awaitings. You can't even deal with your own matters, yet you still dare to pry into my matters. You're courting death. Red Wraith loudly shouted. With the protection of over 1,000 wraiths, Red Wraith once again reached his hand out, dipped a bit of blood into his neck, and began to draw talismans in the air. Gu Qingshan sent her voice to the 3 flying swords. That body's blood contains immense vitality, so he doesn't need to worry about vitality. How about using the Grand Mountain? Shanu suggested. Gu Qingshan judged. That won't do. He's already unconscious, so the Grand Mountain won't be very effective. We need to use swords, and we can't give him the chance to draw talismans We need to decide life and death as soon as possible in the blink of an eye. Red Wraith drew several more blood-colored talismans. He looked up at the boundless white light in the sky and shouted, "Come, awaitings, let us see which of the four divine beasts favors you more." The two blood-colored talismans manifested and abruptly scattered. Supreme in Heavenly Talisman, for Saints. Supreme in Heavenly Talisman, Palace Sacrifice. The desert scenery slowly faded away as a palace slowly manifested. Oh no, we can't let him use this technique. Gu Qingshan hurriedly sent her voice. I know, the Serpent's King replied. Ouroboros had naturally seen these two divine talismans before, so he knew how powerful they were. They directly manifested into a long snake that gave off a holy glow. The snake bit down on its own tail and quickly spun around. Divine hymns resounded in the sky as various unheard-of entities unleashed their techniques to reinforce the snake's body. Chaos, divine skill, eternal world's praise. The desert scenery that faded away stopped, and the palace also didn't fully manifest. A stalemate. The power of the two divine talismans and the chaos, divine skill fell into a stalemate. Red Wraith laughed. Not bad. But now he drew another talisman with his hand. We have no choice but to face it head-on, the Earth Sword said. We only have one chance to act. He will definitely be able to use the talismans to deal with us after that, Gu Qingshan lightly said. Understood, Gongzi Shannon replied. The Chaoyin sword silently listened and fell silent. At this point, there was no other strategy to think of. Go! Gu Qingshan shouted. In an instant, with an intense flash of light, the orange cat abruptly disappeared. Divine skill, shadow shift. One of the Wraith shadows that was protecting Red Wraith abruptly disappeared. In its place was a gigantic black dragon. The black dragon opened its mouth and breathed out intense dragon's breath. Red Wraith abruptly turned around, tossed a talisman forward, and laughed. I knew there was another one hiding in the shadows. Your end has already been decided. The talisman hovered in the air, manifesting into a chilling jade wheel of ice that firmly stopped the dragon's breath. Go! Red Wraith roared. The Wraith shadows that were protecting him leapt into the air and charged towards the black dragon. The Wraith shadows and the black dragon continued to fight, both taking to the sky. Red Wraith muttered in surprise. There's another one. While saying so, he had already turned around and slapped his inventory bag. A sword grew infinitely larger in front of him, then pierced through between his eyebrows and came out from the back of his head. At the same time, another sword pierced through the back of his head and came out from between his eyebrows. Secret art, Swallow returns, one of the most powerful assassination sword techniques. Crack! The Yaksha mask was slashed to pieces, falling to the ground piece by piece. Red Wraith's hands were raised in midair, as if he was about to swing some sort of weapon. But he didn't have a weapon in his hand. Where is my blade? Red Wraith moaned in confusion. Gu Qingshan was also shocked for a split second. The other party didn't have a weapon. As an extremely powerful being of the samsara, this was an incredible feat. But now wasn't the time to hesitate. In the blink of an eye, Gu Qingshan activated her lightning thaumaturgy. Dream Jolt. Embark. Red Wraith uttered an unwilling roar, but immediately fell into a state of constant twitching, unable to move at all. Gu Qingshan let go of the Earth Sword and waved her hand towards the sky. The black dragon that was fighting against the dozens of Wraith shadows abruptly disappeared, turning into an autumn-clear blue sword that lightly flashed. The sword appeared in Gu Qingshan's hand, pierced through the red armor, then vibrated. A gigantic sword phantom shot forward like a bolt of lightning. Wah! Red Wraith spat up blood as a large hole appeared on his body. He seemed to have escaped Dream Jolt's control and abruptly laughed in a frenzy. You can't kill me. The blood of a heavenly being is my vitality talisman. As long as my blood doesn't dry, I won't die. Gu Qingshan scowled. At this point, the Chaoyin sword abruptly vibrated. Without hesitation, Gu Qingshan let go of the Six Paths Great Mountain Sword and gripped the Chaoyin sword. A line of blood-red text quickly appeared on the war god UI. Frowny face, the Chow Een sword requires your soul points to perform. Even a sea of suffering shall pass. This time, after reading the first line, Gu Qingshan suddenly had a thought. Chow Een sword can control water. Could it be? Gu Qingshan immediately released her soul points into the sword. The Chow Een sword vibrated. A waterfall of blood abruptly flowed out from the bloody hole on Redwraith's body. All the blood inside the heavenly being's body was sucked dry by the Chow Een sword in one go, falling next to Gu Qingshan. Redwraith froze in the desert. His throat twitched as he muttered, "I don't believe it." Chapter 1434. Blood gushed out and condensed into a stream of blood in the air. The heavenly being's corpse collapsed to the ground. Redwraith's figure appeared from the top of the corpse's head, about to manifest itself in the air. In that split second, Gu Qingshan drew a black scepter from the void of space and stabbed it into the corpse. The horned skull at the top of the scepter suddenly gave off a bright red glow. The Devil King Wardenrod. Redwraith's figure screamed in pain and instantly retreated back into the corpse. The heavenly being's corpse suddenly opened its eyes and looked at Gu Qingshan. "Road, who exactly are you?" Gu Qingshan was a bit surprised. Being able to call out my name meant that Redwraith had regained consciousness. The power of wicked thoughts burning spirit should have lasted for a while before disappearing. Seems like Redwraith has a certain level of resistance against life talismans. "Who do you think I am?" Gu Qingshan asked. Redwraith reached his hand out to grab the black scepter. "This soul-suppressing power should be the Devil King Wardenrod of Huangquan. You are the Devil King of Huangquan." His gaze was filled with complicated emotions. Gu Qingshan didn't answer and simply placed her hand on the heavenly being's head. Soul reading activated. 1 breath. 2 breaths. Gu Qingshan scowled and pulled her hand back. Redwraith couldn't help but laugh. "You want to read my soul?" "Ahahaha. This heavenly being's corpse had all of its memories erased, and I don't belong to this body, so you won't be able to find any information?" Shano hurriedly called out. "Gongzi, I'm very familiar with the Devil King Wardenrod. I could sense that it hadn't truly suppressed Redwraith's soul. Just now, I know." Gu Qingshan glanced at the notification in the void of space and replied. Lines of glowing text had already appeared, informing her of the current situation of the battle. Frowny face, attention. You cannot use the Devil King Wardenrod to kill the other party, because the other party isn't a soul. If it isn't a soul, then what is it? Although I've absorbed all of the heavenly being's blood, Redwraith doesn't need to draw talismans to attack. He had once casually taken out a talisman from his inventory bag to stop the black dragon's flame breath. Gu Qingshan's expression did not change as she looked at the sky. In the sky, the light and shadows of the two worlds kept alternating, and for a while, neither side could do anything to the other. The Chaos Serpent's King Ouroboros was still fighting against the two supreme in-heavenly talismans. Redwraith noticed Gu Qingshan's gaze and thought of something. "Road, you can't kill me. If I die, you won't be a match for Ouroboros." Gu Qingshan said expressionlessly, "I have a deal to make with you. If you agree, I won't kill you." "What kind of trade?" Redwraith asked. "Tell me everything you know," Gu Qingshan said. Redwraith revealed a mocking expression. "You think I'll believe you?" Gu Qingshan replied. "I'm also a member of the Samsara. I can make a vow to heaven and earth." Redwraith was startled. When he said, "oath to the heavenly Tao," there was an almost imperceptible fluctuation in the world. This proved that the other party was indeed from the Samsara. "What do you want to know?" Redwraith asked. Gu Qingshan replied, "The Saint Spirit world is the strongest world. Why do you want to attack and destroy it?" Redwraith's gaze moved away from Gu Qingshan to the sky. "Road, we must first make a vow to heaven and earth to not attack each other for the next period of time. We'll first work together to deal with the Chaos Serpent's King Ouroboros," Gu Qingshan replied. "He helped me, so he won't be my enemy," Redwraith replied. "He is an awaiting of the Chaos faction. You'll soon find out that his methods are even crueler than you can imagine." At this point, the two blood talismans in the sky slowly dimmed. Hurry, Road. Without my power to reinforce them, the blood talismans will quickly collapse. At that time, no one will be able to deal with Ouroboros. Both you and I will die. Red Wraith hurriedly said. Gu Qingshan looked up at the sky. The Chaos faction against the Apocalypse, the Order faction sought for all living beings to fight against it, while the Chaos faction wanted to eliminate all living beings and plunge the world into destruction first. This way, the Apocalypse wouldn't descend upon the world. As awaitings, they would be able to silently hide and wait for the end of the Apocalypse. Wasn't everything that the Chaos Serpent's King was trying to do the same? If this continues, what the Chaos Serpent's King wants to do is very clear. It is a powerful awaiting that has only just regained its strength, so I'm no match for it. Then, I can only rely on Red Wraith to kill it. But Red Wraith isn't under my control. He's only pretending to be courteous to me, probably planning something. Once the Chaos Serpent's King dies, Red Wraith will definitely kill me. No matter what, neither of these two monsters will die first. Gu Qingshan's thoughts moved quickly, sent her voice to Red Wraith for a bit, then shouted, Red Wraith, your destiny is to die. The Devil King Warden rod abruptly shook. Red Wraith uttered a long scream of pain. His body trembled for a bit, then went silent. Time slowly passed. A few dozen seconds later, in the sky, the two blood talismans gave off a faint cracking sound before vanishing without a trace. The holy white light seemed to be growing stronger and stronger. The serpent made of light flew down, looked at the corpse on the ground, then at Gu Qingshan. It gently said, We've won this time. Indeed, but it's not over yet. We need to head to the Saint Spirit world and kill those who have been taken over by the wraiths, Gu Qingshan replied. He swung his hands to put the hovering heavenly being's blood away, then propped the Devil King Warden rod on his shoulder. The heavenly being's corpse was being carried by the rod, completely motionless. The Chaos Serpent's King said, You're right, after the three worlds fused, the source of the plague world has been destroyed. The remaining entities in the Saint Spirit world must be eliminated. Gu Qingshan nodded. We're going to kill those wraiths. The white light circled around Gu Qingshan a few times, then gently told her, You're wrong, what's wrong? Gu Qingshan asked. The Chaos Serpent's King lightly replied, Killing the wraiths alone isn't enough. All other living beings must be killed as well. Why is that? To ensure that the fused world remains the same as before, a world of monsters without the ability to reproduce. The Chaos Serpent's King patiently explained. Both you and I are unique individuals. The monsters I've collected before are also unique individuals in this world. This way, this world will still not draw the attention of the Apocalypse, and we can continue to survive until a turning point appears. What's a turning point? Gu Qingshan pursued. The Chaos Serpent's King froze. Dragon King of Atrocity Jail, I don't know either, but we managed to survive in the end, didn't we? It said. Gu Qingshan replied. As long as we survive, nothing else matters. The Chaos Serpent's King smiled. That is indeed the case. This is the only chance of survival within the Apocalypse. Gu Qingshan suddenly changed the subject and asked, There are still a lot of plague-infected entities in this world. Should we eliminate them all at once? No, please don't. A destroyed world that still contains quite a few traces of the plague apocalypse. This is a once-in-a-blue-moon opportunity. It will make the other apocalypses avoid this place, the Chaos Serpent's King replied. Gu Qingshan praised, then said, You're quite the thoughtful one. A holy white light descended, enveloped Gu Qingshan, and disappeared in a flash. The Saint Spirit World, the Frost Empire, the Chaos Serpent's King flew into the sky, unleashing a blinding light in every direction. Its body moved like lightning, moving at an unimaginable speed, moving through the Empire's various cities, prefectures, and towns. Chaos, divine skill, clear skies slash. Wherever the Serpent's King went, all wraiths would be erased by the holy light, just like how it faced the infected entities in the plague world. It was an awaiting from the age of immemorial, a near-invincible entity against these wraiths. Hordes of wraiths that had taken over were killed. A few dozen seconds later, the Chaos Serpent King returned in front of Guqin Shan. This place has been cleaned up. We're going to head to the other side of the continent. I can sense that there are a lot of genuine inner plane world deities there, the Serpent King told her. Should we kill them all? Guqin Shan asked. Of course, you're still too weak, so I'll take care of this, the Chaos Serpent King replied. It turned into a mass of light, about to fly up into the sky. Wait a minute. Guqin Shan called out to the Serpent King. The mass of light paused briefly before falling back down. Is there anything else? The Chaos Serpent King asked. Your battle with that guy, just now, wasn't over yet. Which one of you is stronger? Guqin Shan curiously asked. The Chaos Serpent King replied. It was thanks to you holding it back. Otherwise, if it continued to pour its power into the blood talisman, I would have to endure the attack of that world transposition technique. So that's how it was. Guqin Shan flicked the black scepter on her shoulder forward. The heavenly being's corpse was sent flying. While I still have a bit of luck left, I'd like to see that scene again, Guqin Shan said. Before she finished, the heavenly being's corpse abruptly drew 2 talismans and tossed them towards the Chaos Serpent King. Chapter 1435. Road, you have to give me enough heavenly being's blood. Road, the situation is very urgent. Without blood, that snake will kill me. I guarantee, as long as I die, you will never be able to learn the secret of the Wraith realm. Before Guqin Shan killed Red Wraith was quickly communicating with Guqin Shan. Guqin Shan sent her voice. I can give you heavenly being's blood, but you have to tell me why you want to invade the Saint Spirit world, Red Wraith roared. There's no time. Look, that snake is about to win against my divine talismans. Give me blood. We're going to defeat it first. Only if you tell me why you want to invade the Saint Spirit world, Guqin Shan calmly replied. Red Wraith angrily shouted. You, Guqin Shan cut him off. I hope you understand. Without heavenly being's blood, you'll be killed by the Chaos Serpent King, but I won't. Red Wraith was speechless, then looked up at the sky. The 2 supreme, divine talismans that gave off frigid presence were becoming dimmer and dimmer. The holy white light was about to destroy these 2 talismans. There's no time. Damn it, if this brat hadn't taken control of the heavenly being's blood. Red Wraith gritted his teeth. Road, listen carefully. The Saint Spirit world hides a very unique item. No one knows what it is, but I know that it must be some sort of message or item left behind by someone from outside the reality gate. But no one can find that item, not a single person. Only by destroying the entire Saint Spirit world would that item reveal itself from its hiding place. It definitely won't be destroyed along with the world. We need to find it. This is a matter of utmost importance. Swear that you're not lying, Guqin Shan said. His thoughts had already begun to churn. Could it be the item that Red Wraith was talking about was the item that my parents placed in the Roland Empire's underground treasure vault? You want me to swear? Why won't you believe me? Red Wraith shouted. Strange. Why should I believe you? Swear, and I'll give you my blood, Guqin Shan calmly said. Right at this moment, a grand muffled sound came from the sky. The holy white light filled the entire sky. The 2 supreme, divine talismans were completely destroyed and disappeared. This meant that the Chaos Serpent was about to arrive. Just as Guqin Shan had said, the Chaos Serpent's army wouldn't kill him right away, or rather, they would kill Red Wraith, who couldn't draw talismans. Red Wraith had no choice but to quickly swear a vow to heaven and earth. A faint law of heaven and earth spread out. The oath was made. Guqin Shan suddenly felt a burning pain on her wrist. He released his divine sense and wrapped it around his left wrist. However, the deep blue sword and saber pattern turned into a burning divine character, causing him to feel a deep pain in his wrist. The entire world disappeared from Guqin Shan's sight. Darkness descended. The next moment, Guqin Shan found herself in a vast sea of stars. The vast starlight revolved around him. The world spirit manifested into thousands of voices and spoke in unison. You have learned of the Wraith scheme, as well as the truth of the matter for the world. The current situation is extremely dangerous. The fused world cannot be allowed to fall under the control of the Chaos Serpents. This awaiting choice of species almost destroyed the extinct monster world. You cannot allow the new world to fall into a slow process of self-destruction. The blue flames on Gu Qingshan's wrist once again converge to form the pattern of a snake. You must stop the Chaos Serpent's King Ouroboros. In consideration of the overwhelming difference in power between you and it, we will not force you to kill it. But you must ensure that it cannot affect the progress of the world. If you can do this, we shall extract the precious inner plane origin of the world from the laws of the world and gift it to you. Instantly, the sea of stars scattered, and everything returned to normal. Gu Qingshan took a deep breath, then triggered the heavenly being's blood that was flowing in the air and separated a small clump. He raised the Devil King Warden Rod high up and stabbed it down. Ar! Red Wraith screamed in pain. The heavenly being's blood flowed through the Devil King Warden Rod and into the heavenly being's corpse. Red Wraith immediately pretended to be dead while being held up by the Devil King Warden Rod. At this point, the Chaos Serpent's Ouroboros had just descended from the sky. "We've won this time," it declared. Time continued to flow backwards. As the Chaos Serpent's King was about to move out to destroy all humans in the Saint's spirit world, Gu Qingshan called out to him. "While I still have a bit of luck left, I want to witness that scene." Saying so, Gu Qingshan flicked the Devil King Warden Rod. The heavenly being's corpse was sent flying, then abruptly revived and threw 2 talismans at it. "Haste!" Red Wraith shouted. Caught off guard, the Chaos Serpent's King stared at Gu Qingshan and said, "Dragon King of Atrocity Jail, you've chosen a path of death. My apologies. In truth, for living beings, you've also chosen a path of death," Gu Qingshan replied. On the other hand, Red Wraith excitedly shouted, "Aha! Earlier, it was because I was affected by wicked thoughts, burning spirit, that I couldn't defeat you. But now it's different." His hands were soaked in heavenly being's blood, which he quickly drew talismans in the void of space. The Chaos Serpent's King instantly unleashed a holy white light that struck the incomplete talismans. Being struck, the talismans slowly faded into the void of space, only to reappear after a while. Red Wraith's hands turned into blurred images as he madly drew talismans. In just a single breath's worth of time, he had already completed a long string of talismans. These talismans were all linked together and hovered in the air, not reacting at all even when struck by the white light. Red Wraith pulled his hands back and formed a hand seal. Heavenly Talisman Technique. Moon Chains. Instantly, the long string of talismans turned into a crimson chain that coiled around the Chaos Serpent's King's body and trapped it. The Chaos Serpent's King desperately struggled. Red Wraith loudly shouted, "Chaos Serpent's King, I won't kill you. That will only exhaust my power and cause both of us to suffer heavy losses." "I don't believe you," the Chaos Serpent's King coldly replied. It gathered all the white light to form a sword of light, ready to slash the crimson chain. Red Wraith loudly replied, "Serpent's King, there is no grudge between us, and I don't want to get involved in your business. I actually want to kill this human called Road. My chains are only to trap you and prevent you from interfering." The Chaos Serpent's King turned to Gu Qingshan, only to see that around Gu Qingshan, the desert had already disappeared, replaced by a completely different world. Under the illumination of the moonlight, the ruined palace looked like a world of heavenly palaces that had been destroyed. Broken walls, desolate and desolate. In the square in front of the palace, the King of Chaos landed on top of a bare jade altar. Around the altar, the 4 giant statues of the Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Black Tortoise each stood at a corner, all of them staring at Gu Qingshan. Boundless pressure descended upon them, almost as if they had come to life. Supreme Een Heavenly Talisman, for Saints. Supreme Een Heavenly Talisman, Palace Sacrifice. "Road, your time of death has come," Red Wraith spoke in a low voice. Gu Qingshan casually smiled. "You've only just asked for the heavenly being's blood from me, and you're already trying to kill me? I wanted to kill you for a very long time. You've already found out about the secret of us wraiths, yet you still want me to help you kill the Chaos Serpent's King. Although you aren't particularly strong, you still give me chills, Red Wraith replied. At this moment, he finally sensed the arrival of victory. Come, Road. Life, death, transformation, revolution, it's all up to your luck, Red Wraith loudly declared. Gu Shan calmly replied, No, I advise you to deal with the Chaos Serpent's King. Otherwise you'll die right away. A handful of fine black sand abruptly appeared in his hand. At the same time, the heavenly being's blood hovering in the air flew over and lightly circled around the fine black sand. Take a guess, if I put this handful of sand into the heavenly being's blood, what would happen? Gu Shan asked. Red Wraith froze. Why do you have reincarnation spirit devouring sand? He exclaimed in shock. Chapter 1436. World Apocalypse Online is working outside. Afternoon update. Currently typing. Please wait for a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 1437. In the sky, the Chaos Serpent's King was still restrained by the chains, unable to struggle right away. Red Wraith had actually used the 2 divine talismans on Dragon King of Atrocity Jail's body, which had won the Serpent's King's trust. At their level of strength, both it and Red Wraith could easily understand that neither of them could easily kill the other without even fighting. While accumulating power to break the chains, the Serpent's King coldly observed the situation, only to see that within the desolate and ruined palace, Dragon King of Atrocity Jail stood on top of a jade altar, calmly taking out a handful of fine black sand. The fine black sand and crimson blood drifted into the air, intertwining with each other in his hand, almost about to fuse together. Time slowly passed. The 4 statues of the divine beast still had their eyes closed. Road, how did you notice? Red Wraith asked. His expression was grim as he stared at Gu Shan. Earlier, when you suggested that we not attack each other, I already knew a bit about it, Gu Shan replied. Red Wraith was surprised, then asked in disbelief. Just because of that? Gu Shan replied. You're clearly stronger than I am, but you're also more worried about your own safety than I am. Isn't that strange? Red Wraith replied. That's because of the Devil King Warden Rod. Gu Shan cut him off. Stop pretending. You weren't actually afraid of it, and I wasn't completely sure of the situation at the time either. But right after that, you immediately asked me for Heavenly Being's blood, Red Wraith continued. Because I wanted to deal with this Chaos Serpent King? No, at that point, I could already confirm that you were actually inside this blood, Gu Shan replied. Red Wraith seemed to have heard some sort of joke and burst out laughing. Me? Inside this blood? What do you take me for? A talisman, Gu Shan curtly replied. Red Wraith's voice was cut off. He glared at Gu Shan with an extremely twisted expression. Gu Shan shook her head and said, You probably don't know this, but after being afflicted with wicked thoughts burning spirit, you unconsciously said something. What did I say? Red Wraith asked. The Immortal's blood is my life force talisman. As long as the blood doesn't dry, I won't die, Gu Shan said. Red Wraith froze. Gu Shan continued. If this sentence is as long as my blood doesn't dry, my spells will never run out, then it would be correct, and it would also fit the actual situation of a battle. But what you said is as long as my blood doesn't dry, I won't die. The meaning of this sentence is different. Just because of that, Red Wraith was still in disbelief. Gu Shan sighed, then said, A certain lady once told me that the Wraith realm had 2 divine armaments, the Heavenly King and the Wraith, Red Wraith. You told me yourself. You and another Heavenly King are the rulers of the Wraith realm, and the Devil King Warden Rod can't control you. Even a pig would know how to determine your true identity. Gu Shan casually picked up a grain of black sand and mixed it with the Immortal's blood. Ah! Red Wraith uttered a hysterical scream. The Immortal's blood seemed to be boiling, but like a person who was being tortured, it was madly writhing. The Chaoyin sword couldn't stand it any longer and lightly vibrated. The Immortal's blood instantly calmed down. See, I guessed correctly. Gu Shan took the grain of black sand out from the blood and casually said. It was now that Red Wraith stopped screaming and started to breathe heavily. Gu Shan stopped while she was ahead and pointed at the sky. Red Wraith, we don't have much time to talk. Red Wraith looked up, only to see that the Chaos Serpent's King was slowly turning into a blade of light, attempting to cut the chains. Gu Shan said, killing the Chaos Serpent's King might be a bit difficult. I don't expect you to kill it. I only hope that you can seal it away. That I'm guessing you should be able to do. Red Wraith stared closely at Gu Shan for a long while before he spoke. You and I shall both swear that if I do this for you, the grudge between us will be written off. Neither of us will ever attack the other again. Furthermore, you must return the heavenly being's blood and my main body to me. Gu Shan smiled and said, as heaven and earth bear witness, boom. A thunderous sound that shook the four directions rolled across the sky. The oath to heaven and earth had been made. This was a unique law of the samsara, specifically used to restrain living beings of the samsara. Even after the samsara had been destroyed, this law hadn't weakened in the slightest. Red Wraith's expression loosened a bit. Gu Shan casually said, whether you live or die, it's up to you. The fine black sand drifted into the air and enveloped the hovering heavenly being's blood. With a single thought, they would fuse into the blood and perform their purpose. Red Wraith clenched his teeth and tapped his inventory bag. As long as I seal the Chaos Serpent's King for him, I can do that. Several dozen blood-colored talismans were tossed out by Red Wraith. These talismans hovered in the air, forming a circle that gave off pure moonlight. The Chaos Serpent's King struggled even more frenziedly. Its voice was no longer as gentle as before, instead filled with a sense of desperation. Wraith, do you intend to die with me? Red Wraith shook his head. I can't kill you. I can only temporarily seal you away for a while. He then formed a hand seal. Extreme in divine skill, Moon Palace. The mist dissipated as the moonlight illuminated the surrounding mountains and rivers. Wherever the light passed, a bone-piercing chill would envelop the entire desert. The world itself had completely disappeared. Magnificent palaces with richly carved beams and painted rafters rose from the ground. Figures could be seen walking in and out of the palaces as they pleased. Faint heavenly music descended from above. Countless strange flowers drifted down from the sky. The four divine beasts that were originally surrounding Gu Shan opened their eyes at the same time, their bodies trembling. Old pieces of rocks began to fall from their bodies. Under the moonlight, they soared into the sky and tightly surrounded the Chaos Serpent's King. Red Wraith formed another hand seal and shouted, "Seize!" Instantly, everything disappeared without a trace. The desert was still a desert, the moonlight in the sky, the divine beasts, the Chaos Serpent's King, the palace on the ground, the J platform, the plaza, and the forest had all disappeared. Red Wraith said, I've sealed it in another world. It should be able to be sealed for about a year. A year? That's not easy. It's been hard on you. Gu Shan smiled. Give me back my blood. We'll part ways here, preferably never to meet again, since neither of them could attack the other. Red Wraith didn't want to look at Gu Shan anymore, nor did he want to stay here for even a minute longer. So he urged her. Gu Shan raised her hand. The heavenly being's blood flew over and returned to the heavenly being's corpse. Farewell, Red Wraith coldly said. As he was about to leave, Gu Shan suddenly said, seeing how much effort you've put in, I'll give you a piece of advice. Red Wraith's body froze. With the oath to heaven and earth, I can leave at any time, and the other party won't be able to do anything to me. Listening to the other party's final words isn't really a big deal. Regardless of whether it's the truth or a lie, it's still information. Tell me, Red Wraith said. Gu Shan sighed. You won't be able to leave. There's nothing outside this world. Only I know how to leave. How laughable. These are only 3 worlds that have fused with each other and are temporarily isolated. How could I not be able to leave? Don't try to fool me. Red Wraith mocked her. Gu Shan smiled without saying anything. While Red Wraith mocked her, he stood still without moving. Let's start from the beginning. I'm actually not a person of this world, Gu Shan said. Red Wraith looked at Gu Shan as if he was re-evaluating her, then tried asking, "Where did your spirit-devouring sand come from?" This was the question. Gu Shan also wanted to know what the Wraith artifact spirit inside the great tomb of myriad beasts was. But he couldn't ask her directly. Right now, both sides were probing each other. "Why didn't you ask me which world I came from, and instead asked about the spirit-devouring sand?" Gu Shan appeared interested. "Worlds? Worlds don't have any meaning. Parallel worlds are nothing more than a series of illusions of fate, making it impossible for anyone to find the truth of everything. To be frank, I don't even know if I'm a real existence or an illusion." Red Wraith shook his head. Gu Shan looked at Red Wraith. Red Wraith's Wraith Guy's hex had already been broken, so his expression was one of deep confusion and loss. This was the first time Gu Shan had seen this artifact spirit display such an expression. Gu Shan held back her boiling thoughts and muttered, "That's why you didn't ask about my background, because this space is fake, but the sand in my hand is real. That's right. Why do you have this sand?" Red Wraith asked. Chapter 1438. Gu Shan put the black sand in her hand away. She didn't answer right away and instead turned back to Red Wraith. "What is it?" Red Wraith didn't understand. Gu Shan took this bit of time to quickly ponder. Red Wraith said that parallel worlds were layers upon layers of illusions of fate, which matched what the black spiky crab said about parallel worlds being a type of camouflage. What exactly were they trying to hide that caused so many parallel worlds to appear? And who created so many parallel worlds? Gu Shan silently shook her head. "This matter is too distant from me. This handful of reincarnation spirit-devouring sand originally came from the Wraith realm. You should know this," Gu Shan suddenly said. Red Wraith replied, "This is a treasure of the samsara. You couldn't possibly steal it. I still can't believe that you managed to steal it. Just look at what happened to the Chaos Serpent's King. It was also an opponent that I couldn't defeat, but it was sealed here as I wished," Gu Shan calmly replied. Red Wraith pondered. Gu Shan continued, "I originally wanted to search for this treasure in other worlds, but after traveling through countless worlds, I still couldn't find anything similar, so I had no choice but to use everything I had and steal it from your world." Red Wraith sighed and couldn't help but say, "Of course, there is only a handful of reincarnation spirit-devouring sand within the space vortex. The will of the samsara probably felt that this item was too malicious, so it wouldn't allow a second handful of such sand to appear." Gu Shan's mind turned quickly. "I made the right bet. This was originally an item from the Wraith realm, not the great tomb of myriad beasts, nor the delimitation sword artifact spirit from the great tomb. In other words, the Wraith artifact spirit came from the Wraith realm. This would explain why it had this handful of sand. But strangely, why did the Wraith artifact spirit give me this handful of sand? Why didn't it use it for itself?" While Gu Shan was thinking, Red Wraith sighed and said, "Road, you are very weak, but your abilities are unparalleled in my entire life." Gu Shan came back to her senses and gestured for him to continue. Red Wraith asked in confusion, "I don't understand. You've clearly obtained the Chaos Serpent's King's trust, so why did you have to become enemies with it?" "Why not?" Gu Shan smiled. Red Wraith replied, "It is one of the most powerful entities within the space vortex. I couldn't kill it even with my full strength. Since you've offended it, it will find you sooner or later and kill you." After a moment of silence, Gu Shan said, "This is a battle of beliefs. Could it be you're in a waiting from the Order faction?" Red Wraith tried probing. "No, I'm a cultivator, but I also represent them," Gu Shan replied. Red Wraith didn't expect his answer to be so straightforward, so he was a bit surprised. Can these words be trusted? Seeing its expression, Gu Shan said in a carefree manner, "We have the heavenly oath as a witness. We can no longer hurt each other, so I don't need to lie to you." Red Wraith pondered. "That's true, but isn't your strength a bit too?" Gu Shan casually took out a dark green longbow from the void of space and held it in her hand. "Eos, Dreamscape soul artifact," Red Wraith gasped, then guessed. "You killed an awaiting from the Chaos faction, but you were also wounded and greatly weakened." That's about it. Not too long ago, I killed someone from the Chaos faction. That person had arranged an extremely long string of clues throughout the years, almost fooling us and completely destroying order. Gu Qingshan casually replied. Red Wraith looked down at the talisman hidden in his sleeve. The talisman didn't react at all. Every single word she said was the truth. How is that possible? But it's definitely the truth. Red Wraith became a bit more respectful and asked, Your true identity is... No one can investigate my true identity because our war against chaos is far from over. As an entity hiding in the shadows, I have many things to do, so I can't reveal my identity, Gu Qingshan replied. Red Wraith slowly calmed down and appeared relieved. The other talisman in his sleeve had been burnt to a crisp. The talisman was destroyed by an immense power, unable to investigate the other party's identity. No wonder you were able to abandon your friendship with the Chaos Serpent's King without batting an eyelid. No wonder you were able to steal the spirit devouring sand of reincarnation from our world, Red Wraith muttered in a low voice. Naturally, I can't completely trust this road, as he could be another powerful entity. Holding a Dreamscape Soul artifact would definitely draw the attention of other awaitings. Unless they had the ability to use a unique method to deal with this bow, they wouldn't be able to fool the awaitings of the Chaos faction. To be able to do this, they either had to be an extremely powerful awaiting or an entity even more powerful than an awaiting. Regardless of who the other party was, Red Wraith didn't feel the need to think about it any further. This really is someone from the Order faction. No wonder he's so hard to deal with. Seeing his expression, Gu Qingshan knew that she had finished laying the groundwork. So she was about to say something else when an intense burning sensation came from her wrist. Instantly, everything in the desert faded away. Boundless starlight descended from above. Gu Qingshan immediately released her inner sight and coiled it around her left wrist. The image of the deep blue snake turned into a burning divine rune. The boundless starlight circled around Gu Qingshan's body, exuding countless joyful words. Frowny face, you have welcomed a new life for the world. The Chaos Serpent's King has been sealed away. The new world will soon begin its rapid evolution and development, forming the same timeline as the parallel world you came from. From now on, the Saint Spirit world shall become a world within the space vortex of your world. You shall receive our gift. But before that, as the new world will enter a state of complete isolation and evolution, you must make a choice. You can remain in the isolated Saint Spirit world until the world's evolution is complete, or you can return to your original world with your companions. Once the Saint Spirit world's evolution is complete, we will invite you again. In 5 minutes, the Saint Spirit world will enter a state of complete isolation. You must make your choice within 5 minutes. Gu Qingshan's heart sank. Originally, I wanted to use my identity as an awaiting to gain some information from Red Wraith and understand more about the Tomb of Myriad Beasts, but it seems like it's already too late. Excuse me, can I choose the companions I want to take with me? Gu Qingshan asked. Naturally, but you must first obtain their permission. The world's spirit manifested in the countless voices that resounded by Gu Qingshan's ears. Very well, I've made up my mind. Gu Qingshan turned to Red Wraith. I'm leaving, he curtly said. Where are you going? Red Wraith asked. Gu Qingshan smiled and replied, I've already won against the Plague Apocalypse and borrowed your power to seal the Chaos Serpent's King. Why would I still stay here? Red Wraith couldn't help but say, But the Chaos Serpent's King is still alive, Gu Qingshan coldly replied. Once I've recovered, I will summon our awaitings to kill it together. Red Wraith froze, then tactfully went silent. This is an eternal war between the two factions of Order and Chaos. It's best if I don't provoke these two extreme lunatics. Gu Qingshan continued. This world is currently undergoing rebirth, so it will be isolated for a while. You should rest here. We shall meet again if fate allows it. As soon as she said so, the earth, the sky, the boundless desert, as well as the endless world all began to tremble. The world was about to evolve. Red Wraith could naturally sense the true situation from this change. His expression instantly changed. She wasn't lying at all. Wait, he shouted. Gu Qingshan curiously looked at him. and gestured for him to continue. Red Wraith asked, "Can you take me out? You want to leave?" Gu Qing Shan asked. "Yes, all of my subordinates have been killed by the Chaos Serpent's King. The mission here has failed, so I need to return to our world first," Red Wraith replied. "I can take you with me, but aren't you afraid that I'll harm you?" Gu Qing Shan smiled. "You and I have a vow to heaven and earth. We can't attack each other," Red Wraith replied. "Very well, prepare to leave," Gu Qing Shan said. He casually waved his hand. Crow and the duck plushie both appeared. "Let's go," Gu Qing Shan said. Between heaven and earth, a grand will descended. Everyone could hear the sound of millions of whispers. "Agree. Otherwise I won't be able to take you with me," Gu Qing Shan said. The three of them were a bit shocked. So it turns out they were directly conversing with the world spirit, then being transported out. What kind of power is this? Red Wraith carefully checked and found that it really was the world spirit, and it was only a warp technique, so he calmed down. "It can actually communicate with the world spirit. Now I understand why the awaitings of the Order faction chose you," Red Wraith said. "Enough talking. Let's go," Gu Qing Shan said. A flash of light enveloped the four of them. They disappeared from the Saint's spirit world. Within the space vortex, four figures abruptly appeared. Gu Qing Shan, Red Wraith, Crow, and Omaki. As soon as Red Wraith took out a communication talisman and was about to say something, he suddenly realized something. He noticed that his heavenly being body, as well as his own body, were slowly disintegrating into dust. Red Wraith had a doubtful expression, then glanced at Gu Qing Shan. "How did you do that?" "You mean I violated the vow to heaven and earth?" "No, I've never done anything to you," Gu Qing Shan replied. Red Wraith's body completely scattered into a mass of dust. He finally said, "I don't." Before he could finish, he had already lost all traces of his existence. Red Wraith completely vanished. "You're unlucky," Gu Qing Shan sighed. "Strange. Why did this wraith disappear?" Crow cautiously asked. Gu Qing Shan replied, "He's dead. Why? He seemed to be very powerful," Omaki commented. "Because the Saint Spirit world has completely fused with our space vortex. It's basically a part of our parallel world," Gu Qing Shan replied. "What's the difference?" Crow was confused. Gu Qing Shan regretfully replied, "The Saint Spirit world no longer belongs to any other parallel world, so only one of the living beings it brought could exist within our space and time vortex. Then, that wraith just now was erased by the three great laws of reality?" Omaki asked. "That is indeed the case," Gu Qing Shan replied. He glanced at the war god UI. True luck had just ended. A line of glowing text remained on the UI. Frowny face, you've successfully saved the Saint Spirit world and obtained the world spirit's gift. Please immediately check the treasures you obtained in your free time. Chapter 1439. When Gu Qing Shan's group left the Saint Spirit world. At another location, the Wraith Realm, the outskirts of the Wraith Temple. All the powerful Wraiths had entered combat mode. Even if they didn't know what happened, the fact that all three Wraith Lords had given their orders at the same time was enough to explain how serious the situation was. Passing through the layers of defense, there were only 3 people inside the Wraith Temple. The 3 Wraith Lords were discussing the urgent matter that just occurred. The atmosphere was tense. "What exactly happened just now?" one of the Wraith Lords asked. A talisman fluctuation of extremely high authority appeared on the myriad talismans formation. "But no matter how much I investigated, I couldn't find anything," another Wraith Lord replied. "Indeed, I even used my immortal craft, but I still couldn't find anything about that talisman," the third Wraith Lord agreed. They exchanged glances. "Could it be Sir Wraith Saint has returned? Come, let's take a look. For the sake of Sir Wraith Saint's safety, we need to first activate all the defensive formations. One of the Wraith Lords took out a formation plate and quickly tapped it with both hands. Soon enough, layers of light appeared one after another, then disappeared into the void of space. All the defensive formations had been activated. The 3 Wraith Lords then went deeper into the Wraith Temple and pressed on the walls. A secret passage appeared in front of them. Through the passage, they walked all the way to the end of the darkness, only to find a sacrificial altar. A crimson talisman hovered on top of this sacrificial altar. This talisman was silent, but there were various supernatural phenomena of clouds and sky, palaces, pavilions, and strange beasts around it. The three Wraith Lords clasped their fists and greeted. Sir Wraith Saint, the talisman was still silent, as if it had lost its soul and remained motionless. It seems Sir still hasn't returned, one of the Wraith Lords sighed. Another Wraith Lord was confused. That's strange. If it wasn't Sir Wraith Saint, then who could have connected to our myriad talismans formation? Could it be the Heavenly King? It can't be. The Heavenly King doesn't understand talismans. The myriad talismans formation is a part of Sir Wraith Saint. Unless it was the Wraith Saint himself, or some other unknown entity. The three Wraith Lords exchanged glances, confused. Finally, one of the Wraith Lords sighed. Sir Red Wraith had already disappeared for quite some time without contacting us. I really don't know what happened to him. That's right, that matter is about to come. But Sir has disappeared. The space turbulence. Gu Shan looked at the woman and the stuffed animal beside her. Their bodies emitted a strange fluctuation, as if something was dissipating from them. Crow's body was slowly growing taller, becoming more and more like a man. The duck plushie was even worse. All the feathers on its body had fallen off, and it was turning into a goose. However, when it turned into a goose, it quickly turned into a dog and continued to change. From the looks of it, he would be able to return to his human form sooner or later. Gu Shan felt relieved and decided to take advantage of this time to check her harvest. Following his thought, lines of glowing text quickly appeared on the War God UI. You've saved the Saint's spirit world. You've received the world spirit's gift. Please take out your condemnation book. Gu Shan took out the black leather book and held it in her hand. You've discovered the truth behind the Wraith's destruction of a Saint's spirit world, receiving the following reward card, Armor of Condemnation. You've sealed away the Chaos Serpent's King, receiving the world spirit's unique gift, the Inner Plane's Condemnation Origin Power. This origin power is the manifestation of the Condemnation Codex's power. You could directly use it to help you obtain 3 condemnation cards, or you can use 1 condemnation card as the price to fully activate this origin power and increase your condemnation rank. Gu Shan seriously thought for a bit, then said, if I choose to obtain 3 cards, including the Armor of Condemnation, I'll obtain a total of 4 cards. Indeed, the War God UI replied. Then, what would my condemnation rank be like after it is increased? Your condemnation rank will be increased from Cherub to Angel. After that, you will obtain a new condemnation card. Gu Shan hesitated. If I don't increase my condemnation rank, I'll obtain a total of 4 cards. If I increase it, I'll only obtain a single card afterwards. What benefits do I get from increasing my condemnation rank? Gu Shan asked. You'll have to ask your Book of Condemnation for this question, the War God UI replied. Gu Shan took out the black-covered book, flipped it open, and silently asked the relevant question. A line of glowing text quickly appeared on the black-covered book frowny face. After your condemnation rank is increased, you will obtain a card of the type of your choice, as well as all cards you obtain from now on will be increased by 1 rank. To be more specific, the cards you possess will be upgraded from azure to dark purple. Gu Shan pondered for a bit, then said, I want to use a condemnation card as the price to activate the condemnation origin power and increase my rank. Are you sure? I'm sure. Please select the condemnation card you wish to use. Gu Shan froze. I currently have a total of 3 cards. The Crimson Demon Divine Spear isn't with me. Holy Word, Purify, is a very useful spell card. Then there's the Armor of Condemnation, a set of armor specifically used by condemners. Gu Shan reached her hand out, tapped the Armor of Condemnation card, and said, I choose this card. Your choice has been confirmed. Currently releasing the power of this card to activate the Condemnation Origin power, increasing your rank. In 3 seconds, the rank increase will be complete. 3. When originally, the black-covered book was silently sitting in Gu Shan's hand, but an invisible force suddenly flowed into the book. The condemnation technique began to give off a purple glow. Congratulations, your condemnation rank has been increased to Angel of Condemnation. All of your cards have been upgraded. The card Crimson Demon Divine Spear is no longer in the book, temporarily stopping the upgrade. Your card Holy Word. Purify is being upgraded to Dark Violet rank. Please check again in 10 minutes. You will obtain a new card. Please specify the card type. Gu Shan quickly skimmed through it, then said, I want the new card to be a defensive type, preferably armor. The black-covered book automatically flipped to a new blank card slot. Lines of text appeared below the card slot frowny face. According to your condemnation rank, you will obtain a new Dark Violet card. Wings of Angel of Condemnation, armor. The Condemnation Origin power is currently manifesting this card. Please check again in 10 minutes. Gu Shan sighed in relief. I've finally obtained a decent armor. Furthermore, once the Crimson Demon Divine Spear returns, I'll be able to increase its power again. That's a good thing. He suddenly sensed something and turned to look at his side, only to see Crow placing his hand on his flat chest, his entire body trembling in excitement. I've turned back. While laughing, he took out some sort of communication device and sent his voice. Lisa, my precious, I'll treat you to a drink tonight. A female scream resounded from the badge, followed by a hurried question. I'm not dead. Of course I'm not dead, Crow began to explain. A few moments later, he ended the call. Hey, shouldn't you immediately notify Void City that we've returned? Gu Shan asked. He looked at Crow, then at Omaki. Omaki had also returned to his human male form from the duck plushie, holding a communication device in his hand, about to speak. Omaki is much more reliable. While thinking that, Omaki hurriedly said, Right, tickets for tonight's concert. What? There are only VIP tickets left? Are you sure? How much? All right, I'll buy it. After booking the tickets, he put the communication device away, noticing that Gu Shan was looking at him. Omaki awkwardly said, We've been gone for so long, but only an hour has passed. That's more than enough for me to make it back to the concert. Gu Shan silently took out her communication talisman. Although I can use Fog Realm Descent, it's better to be a bit more formal at a time like this. Buttercup, it's me. Please notify the Hitman Guild for me. A lot has happened. Fortunately, we're still alive. Please send someone from the guild to pick us up. Chapter 1440. Void City. The big shots of various forces were gathered in the city Lord's Manor. Gu Shan, Crow, and Omaki were standing in front of everyone. Then, this is the truth behind the Plague Apocalypse? The Hitman Guild Master asked. Unquestionably, that is the truth. When the 3 parallel worlds were destroyed, the Plague World, the Extinct Monster World, and the Saint Spirit World fused together to form a new world, Gu Shan replied. Not too long after that world's evolution is complete, you will see it, Omaki said. Hearing that, the big shots turned to Crow. Crow said with a serious expression, You sealed that place off earlier because you were afraid of the apocalypse erupting, but now that a new world is about to be born, there's no need to seal it off anymore. In truth, you can personally determine whether this is true or not. There's no need to ask us, the Bounty Hunter Guildmaster side. We can indeed determine whether it is true or not, but this matter is too big, so we would like to ask for more details. We've already explained it 5 times. Can you let us go now? I have a date to attend, Crow impatiently said. I also have a concert to attend, Omaki said. The big shots exchanged glances. A voice resounded from deep within the city Lord's Manor. One more question. In the parallel world, are the wraiths really taking over the bodies of the Saint Spirit World's living beings? Indeed, that is indeed the case in the parallel world, Gu Shan replied. The other 2 nodded. The big shots immediately began to discuss among themselves. If this is true, then this ability of the wraiths is truly unsettling. Gu Shan silently sighed. At this point, the blue pattern on his wrist had turned chaotic. No matter how he tried, he couldn't get a response. The newborn world had been sealed off. It would probably only be after the world's evolution is complete that it would form a connection with me again. There are still many things that I haven't done in that world. The Saint Spirit World and the deities of the inner plane must have some sort of connection. So, I need to get to the bottom of this. Furthermore, the thing that my parents left me is still in the Saint Spirit World. So, I need to find a time to retrieve it. While he was silently thinking, The door was opened, as a group of combatants in various attire entered. "Reporting, my lords, we've gone there to take a look. There's indeed only one sealed world. The apocalypse has already disappeared." All the big shots turned to look at Gu Shan. This hitman saw through the Wraith's scheme from a parallel world, then borrowed the Wraith's power to seal away a warping monster. The Chaos Serpent's King, Ouroboros. Dragon King of Atrocity Jail. "Can you explain in more detail how you accomplished all of this?" a masked big shot asked. Gu Shan bowed and said with a smile, "Do you still have doubts about these things?" "No, I've already done multiple investigations. There shouldn't be any problems. I'm just curious how you managed to accomplish such a feat," said the big boss. "I'm sorry. That's related to my personal abilities, so it's not convenient for me to say it out loud," Gu Shan said. He took a step back and disappeared into the fog. "He's gone." What an impudent brat," the masked big shot commented. The Hitman Guild Master praised. "He's very impressive, very smart, but also very cautious, afraid that others would find out about his means and background. I really want to know how the Wraiths in our world would react if they found out about this," another big shot commented. Everyone fell silent. Whether it was the Wraith's scheme, the power of the Saint Spirit world, or the existence of the Chaos Serpent's King, all of them were shocking news. Crow suddenly said, "What? So we can leave now?" His figure flashed and disappeared from the big shot's sight. Seeing that, Omaki also wanted to leave, but being glared at by the Void Library's librarian, he could only stay behind. The ominous Demon Tower's master suddenly said, "How long has it been since we've seen such a brilliant youngster? What are you trying to do?" The Hitman Guild Master appeared cautious. The ominous Demon Tower's master replied, "The Wraiths are too powerful. A puny Hitman Guild like yourself wouldn't be able to protect him. Let him come to the ominous Demon Tower. Bullshit. The merit of defeating the Plague Apocalypse is more than enough for me to promote him to a titled Hitman. I'm going to return right now," the Hitman Guild Master replied. "That fiend seems to be an unsolvable rank Hitman. Isn't it a bit too fast to promote him to titled rank like that?" Another big shot asked in surprise. The Hitman Guild Master coldly replied, "After today, who do you think wouldn't know the name Dragon King of Atrocity Jail?" The other big shot shook his head. "He's too weak. What he did was mostly just a bit of luck." Everyone nodded. "No, it wasn't just luck," a female voice resounded from deep within the City Lord's manor. The big shots all appeared surprised. Someone tried asking, "You mean this fear fiend had been examined before he entered Void City, and a title was drawn from him? This Dragon King of Atrocity Jail is the inheritor of the 1,000 Dragons' ancestor," the female voice continued. Everyone's expressions changed. "So he's the inheritor of the dragon race, and one personally chosen by the dragon ancestor himself. There's nothing else to say. That's right. I had thought that the Wraith realm wouldn't let him go, but now it seems the Wraiths would have to think twice before doing anything to him. Indeed, the entities of the dragon race might be sleeping most of the time, but if someone dares to touch the inheritor chosen by their ancestor, they might show themselves, even if it's for the sake of their reputation." For a while, everyone had their own thoughts. The Red Brick House. Gu Shan walked out from the white fog. Buttercup was currently cooking, so she said without turning around, "You're here. Sit for a bit. The food will be ready soon. Let me cook today." Saying so, Gu Shan found an apron to tie around her waist, then took the spatula from Buttercup's hand. Buttercup decided to let him cook. She stood to one side and said, "I didn't think you'd tell me the entire truth. There's a very simple logic to this. The ones who did bad things are the Wraiths. I'm only dealing with the Plague Apocalypse, so what do I have to be afraid of?" Gu Shan replied, "The Wraiths will think of a way to redeem their reputation. After all, that incident only happened in a parallel world, so for our world, it's only a possibility," Buttercup replied. Gu Shan replied, "I understand, but once the seeds of suspicion are planted, the Wraiths would have no choice but to restrain themselves, because countless combatants would intentionally or unintentionally keep an eye on them. That's why they wouldn't dare to act against you at this point in time, because if something were to happen to you, it would prove that they truly have such intentions," Buttercup said. "Indeed, that's exactly it," Gu Shan replied. Buttercup sighed, then said, "You're too smart." Gu Shan smiled, then continued to serve the cooked food on a plate. I didn't have a choice before, because I was too weak. I had no choice but to hide a lot of things. Buttercup observed him and pondered. You've matured quite quickly. Wait a minute. The City Lord's manor has already exposed your identity as a dragon. This way, the wraiths wouldn't dare to act recklessly. The City Lord's manor is helping me. But why? Gu Shan asked in surprise. Buttercup appeared confused and muttered. I'm guessing you'll find out soon enough. As Gu Shan was about to ask further, she sensed something. Lines of glowing text quickly appeared on the war god. UI, frowny face, you've brought a completely new and powerful world to the space vortex. The laws of origin within the space vortex have become even stronger. Numerous laws have recognized your actions. Your title is spreading throughout Void City. More and more worlds and combatants are learning of your grand feat through various sources. Congratulations. You've received the recognition of the laws of the world and living beings of the infinite worlds. Your title has been born. Your Hitman codename, Dragon King of Atrocity Jail, has officially been converted into a personal title. War God title abruptly lit up below the War God UI. A completely new title had appeared. Title, Dragon King of Atrocity Jail. Description, you've won against the Plague Apocalypse, sealed away the Chaos, Serpent's King, and saved 3 worlds that had fallen into the apocalypse. This is an astonishing feat, worthy of the title holder of War God. Equipping this title grants you the exclusive title skill, Hell Lord. Hell Lord. When you're in battle, countless virtuous living beings within the void will sense your battle situation. Perhaps they might come to aid you. Chapter 1441. Gu Shan slowly sighed. Finally, I've become a titled hitman. Hell Lord is a very useful title skill, which might be useful in a lot of situations from now on. He regained his senses, placed the dishes on the table, split the bowls and utensils with Buttercup, then sat down. Buttercup tasted each dish and praised. They taste quite good, much better than what I made. Gu Shan tapped his inventory bag and took out a bottle of liquor, then gestured to him. An appetizer, would you like some? No, I can't drink alcohol today. Saying so, Buttercup waved her hand to summon 3 glasses of fruit juice on the table. Gu Shan silently watched this. Buttercup placed 1 glass of fruit juice in front of Gu Shan, the other in front of an empty seat, then added a set of utensils. I hope that you'll be clear-headed when you listen to what I'm about to say, Buttercup said. Gu Shan quickly realized and asked, There's news about my matter? Earlier, Buttercup had agreed to help him enter the Wraith Realm, but that was on the condition that he had to at least become a titled combatant. And now, Gu Shan had already achieved that. He was the inheritor of the Dragon Ancestor, the destroyer of the Plague Apocalypse, the hitman everyone knew, Dragon King of Atrocity Jail. Buttercup spoke with a serious expression. I'm guessing that the matter of the City Lord's manor will soon be over. Just wait, she'll most likely come. I hope that you'll be clear-headed when you talk to her, because what we're about to say is very important. Suddenly, a female voice resounded from the void of space. How fragrant! I'm also hungry. A woman walked out from the void of space and casually sat down on the empty seat. She took a sip from the glass of fruit juice. Gu Shan looked at her and fell into thought. There's no need to think about it anymore. I was the one who gave you that title. The woman nodded at him. She had a pair of bright emerald eyes that made anyone who saw them feel like they couldn't help but fall into them. Long black hair, fair skin. His whole body was wrapped in a long, dark green robe with white patterns, and his whole body exuded a mysterious and noble aura. Are you the chief of staff of the City Lord's mansion? Gu Shan looked at him and asked. The woman smiled faintly. That's right. I'm an advisor because I'm the one who's making the decisions for the City Lord's manor. Buttercup put on a serious expression and said, No one can come in here, and no one can hear anything. So if you want to say or do something, just do it. Don't waste each other's time. Gu Shan glanced at Buttercup. Just tell me, I guarantee that she is trustworthy. Right now, you have to make her trust you. Buttercup silently sent her voice. Gu Shan understood. The woman lowered her head and remained silent for a moment, as if waiting for Gu Shan to speak first. Gu Shan stood up and scooped a bowl of rice for the woman and placed it in front of her. "These are the dishes I made. I hope you could try my cooking," Gu Shan said. The woman's expression changed a bit. She suddenly recalled that when this fiend came to her place to divine his title, he said that his wish was to open a restaurant. What a strange fiend. The woman picked up the bowl and tasted each dish. Her brows slowly relaxed. "Buttercup said that you want to go to the Wraith Realm," the woman said. Gu Shan also picked up her bowl and replied while eating, "Yes, didn't you think exposing the matter of the Saint Spirit world before wasn't enough?" The woman looked straight into Gu Shan's eyes and casually said, "How about I help you talk to them? I'll at least have some face, and you could just turn the Wraiths from enemies into friends. I personally don't have any grudges with the Wraiths. Even if I did, I've already cleared it up," Gu Shan replied. The woman put down her bowl and asked, "Then why did you still beg Buttercup to go to the Wraith Realm?" "I only want to go to their world to finish a certain matter," Gu Shan replied. "What is it?" the woman asked. "To destroy them," Gu Shan replied. "Isn't there no grudge between you and them?" the woman asked again. "No one would hold grudges against trash on the ground, but people still want to throw their trash into the trash," King Gu Shan replied. The woman's lips curled up slightly, picked up her bowl and chopsticks again, picked up some food, and began eating with relish. She then asked, "When I performed divination for you last time, you didn't tell me your real name. Was it because of the customs of your fiend race?" Gu Shan paused for a split second, then replied, "I'm sorry, I'm actually human. My name is Gu Shan." The woman's chopstick stopped for a while before she picked up some food. "The ultimate soul artifact of the eternal abyss, wielder of heaven and earth. I know you, you know me?" "Yes. I also know that you wouldn't stand on the side of the Wraiths," the woman muttered. She took out a piece of white silk and lightly placed it on the table in front of Gu Shan. A single word appeared on the white silk. 19. Looking at the white silk, Buttercup smiled faintly. She had been listening to their conversation earlier, only now did she pick up her bowl and began to eat. "How delicious, Gu Shan. If you have time, you should come to my place and cook more," she continued to eat, completely ignoring the two people next to her. The woman then turned to Gu Shan and said, "Take this white silk. It is a symbol of status." "What status?" Gu Shan asked. "My servant," the woman explained further. "In half a month, I will be heading to the Wraith Realm. With this white silk, you are essentially one of my subordinates, allowing the Wraiths to pass through. What are you heading to the Wraith Realm for?" Gu Shan asked again. "I want to get married," the woman replied. Gu Shan was a bit surprised. The woman's expression didn't change and casually replied, "I am the daughter of Void City Lord. I will be marrying one of the three Wraith Lords through a marriage alliance." Gu Shan looked down at the white silk on the table and asked, "You want to get married to the Wraith Realm, but you're willing to bring me, someone who wants to destroy the Wraith Realm, with you?" The woman replied, "The marriage is fake. The Wraith Realm has done a lot of outrageous things in secret, so I have an irreconcilable grudge against them. The majority of the forces of Void City have secretly contacted each other, preparing to use this marriage alliance as a springboard to enter the Wraith Realm." She abruptly went silent. Seeing her expression, Gu Shan slowly understood. "You also want to destroy the Wraith Realm?" he asked. The woman nodded and replied, "We've made thorough preparations and gathered a large number of experts. Over the past few years, we've slowly made the necessary preparations. The only problem is that the Wraith Realm is very hard to enter, so we decided to openly enter through a marriage alliance." Gu Shan muses, "Why does the Wraith Realm want to marry you?" The woman replied, "I'm an expert at calculating the connections between people, as well as the connections between all things and living beings. The Wraiths have been longing for this ability of mine for a very long time." Gu Shan continued, "But you're the daughter of Void City Lord. The entire Void City is paying close attention to you, so they wouldn't dare to risk universal condemnation and harm you. Indeed. So they begged my father to marry me," the woman replied. "And your father agreed?" Gu Shan asked. "My father is already dead, so I agreed," the woman replied. Gu Shan stayed silent for a bit, then pushed the white silk back on the table. "I'm sorry, I can't accept this white silk," he said. Chapter 1442. Gu Shan pushed the white handkerchief back to her. A sense of killing intent suddenly filled the air. The woman opened her emerald eyes wide and slowly observed Gu Shan. "Do you not trust Buttercup? Or do you not trust me?" she asked. Gu Shan leaned back on his chair, casually took out a bottle of liquor, and poured himself a glass. He raised his glass to the woman and gestured. "You're willing to tell me so many secrets because of your trust in Buttercup, as well as your recognition of me." The woman didn't say anything and silently stared at him. Gu Shan continued, "But I don't trust the organizations of Void City too much. I believe that if too many people know about something, there will definitely be problems," the woman replied. "You're worrying too much. We've always been keeping an eye on the wraiths. Every wraith that enters Void City is under the watchful eye of many organizations. The wraiths have no way to bribe anyone in power under our watchful eye." Gu Shan shook his head. "You've been dealing with the wraiths for a long time, but you still don't understand one thing." "What is it?" the woman asked. "When the wraiths treat you, they use a mutually beneficial method of cooperation. For countless years, the wraiths that you've known have always been what they appear to be, not who they really are," Gu Shan explained. "Could it be that the wraiths that you've met are different from us?" the woman asked. Gu Shan replied, "At the time, I was only an ant that they could erase at any time, so of course their attitude towards me was different." He raised his glass, drank it all in one gulp, put it back on the table, leaned forward a bit, and asked in a low voice, "Have you ever seen a wild beast hunt?" "Gu Shan, what are you trying to say?" the woman asked. Gu Shan replied, "For an inconspicuous fellow like me, the wraith's way of doing things is to send someone to take me in as a slave. If I don't agree, I'll die, but when it comes to dealing with you, the wraiths pay particular attention to the art of hunting. The evil spirits will first observe, probe, pretend to be passing by, purposely befriend, find out the details, and find the right time. They will not attack, but once they do, they will definitely hit the target, leaving you with no chance to resist." The woman thought about it and said, "Looks like you don't believe in our plan." Gu Shan replied, "I understand them very well. When I was killing particularly powerful opponents, I also did the same thing. When it comes to hunting and killing, it's nothing more than these methods." The woman fell silent. Buttercup only cared about eating and drinking. Similarly, she had no time to talk. The woman thought for a while and asked, "If you were me, what would you do?" Gu Shan replied, "If I were you, I would first send people to the Wraith Realm to make arrangements before the wedding, then use that chance to investigate the Wraith Realm's background, then destroy them. Then I'll continue to stand guard at the rear?" the woman asked. "Yes," Gu Shan replied. "Nothing ventured, nothing gained." The woman shook her head. "You can't sit under the eaves," Gu Shan refuted her. "Take the lead, sweep away everything before you," the woman continued. "Throwing a meat bun at a dog, you'll never return." Gu Shan waved his hand dismissively. The woman lightly slammed the table and glared at him. "You think I'm a meat bun?" Gu Shan avoided this topic and patiently explained, "The evil spirit's target is you. So if you go, things will become difficult. But if you don't go, they won't be able to achieve their goal and can only wait." Not daring to reveal their true identity, the woman stared closely at him and said, "I know that the master of the twin swords heaven and earth is a sword cultivator. I am a sword cultivator," Gu Shan admitted. "Sword cultivators should be brave warriors who don't fear death. They should be the first to charge in a battle. Why do you value your life so much?" the woman asked. Gu Shan seemed to have thought of something as his expression became a bit gloomy. After a moment of silence, he spoke with a hoarse voice. "You only have one life. If you don't have to, don't give up your life so easily." The woman stood up and paced back and forth in the room. At a certain point, she abruptly stopped and resolutely said, "Our Void City has been planning and preparing for so many years, waiting for this moment. The arrow is already on the bowstring. There's no choice but to release it. Either way, I won't change my mind just because of a few words from you," Gu Shan replied. "I agree, but I hope that you can give me another identity. This identity must not be known to anyone other than yourself." The woman shook her head. "The people who came with me to the Wraith Realm are my dowry, my personal guards. as well as the VIPs of Void City. Every single one of them has a name. None of them have the kind of identity you're talking about. Gu Shan stood up, walked in front of her, and muttered, "You can't be careless when dealing with the wraiths. There must be a secret behind them, a secret that no one knows about. I hope that you can help me think of an identity that no one knows about. Consider it a backup plan for yourself, a backup plan." The woman muttered. Gu Shan took out a black leather book from the void of space and flipped it open. He then took out a card from the book and muttered, "By my name of condemnation, bestow power." The card abruptly glowed. Gu Shan tossed the card to the woman and said, "I'm not a person who doesn't do anything. Take this card and use it on your personal guards. See how effective it is." The woman received the card and stared at it. This card depicted a group of people in tattered clothes, their bodies surrounded by a yellowish fog, kneeling on the ground and praying devoutly. In the sky above them, a man with a pair of wings of light spread out from his back appeared compassionate, his entire body exuding a blinding white light. The woman was also a knowledgeable person, so she quickly exclaimed in shock, "This is an inner plane card. I can sense its power. There's no mistaking it. This is an extremely powerful purification technique." Gu Shan lightly nodded. After the divine word, purification card had been upgraded to dark purple. It had turned into a new card, divine word, abjuration. Activating this card can eliminate all controlling powers, even living beings and substances that are attached to the deities and living beings. Note, can be used on multiple targets, eliminating all controlling powers at once. After Gu Shan became the Angel of Condemnation, not only did his card evolve, but he also gained the ability to bestow the card onto others. Take this card and use it on your personal guards. They'll be able to investigate those who are being controlled, Gu Shan told him. "What's the incantation?" the woman asked. Gu Shan replied, "The life and death of all things is but an instant. With my power of condemnation, all the evil controlling you shall be eliminated." The woman looked at him deeply and said, "Condemnation cards are the highest grade of cards. If you're willing to help me, I'll try to think of a way to grant you an identity. It's best if you listen to me and don't go to the Wraith Realm. Stay in Void City and direct everything," Gu Shan said. The woman shook her head and said, "That has already been decided. There's no way to change it. I'm going to try this card first." After saying so, she disappeared. The only people left in the room were Gu Shan and Buttercup. Impatient, Gu Shan muttered, sat back down, and poured herself another glass of liquor. Buttercup took the glass away and angrily said, "Don't drink. This is such an important moment." Gu Shan begrudgingly gave up. "How many control guards do you think she'll be able to capture with that card of yours?" Xiao Dai asked, then picked up the wine glass and poured it into her mouth. "All of them," Gu Shan replied. Puffed. Buttercup spat out the liquor in her mouth onto Gu Shan's face. "Ah, sorry about that. It's fine, it's fine." Gu Shan formed a hand seal to wipe the liquor off her face. "Are you really that pessimistic?" Buttercup asked. Gu Shan replied, "I'm not pessimistic. It's just that the struggle between life and death has always been this cruel and vicious." The Wraiths would only act when they have an absolute advantage. For the Wraiths to propose to marry this Void City Lord's daughter, they must have prepared everything in advance. Is there no chance of a fluke at all? Buttercup asked. Gu Shan shrugged. Luck is a different situation, not within the scope of our discussion. The two of them suddenly went silent. When the woman reappeared, the card from before was no longer in her hand. Her complexion was a bit pale. Buttercup hurriedly asked, "How is it?" The woman replied, "As soon as the purification technique was activated, all the guards who were chosen to enter the Wraith Realm were killed. While the ones who weren't chosen were all alive." Buttercup glanced at Gu Shan with a smile. Gu Shan's expression didn't change at all, only saying, "That's why I advise you not to go. As long as you don't go, the game will not begin, and victory and defeat will still be unknown. What happened just now can't be hidden any longer. The situation will only become more and more dangerous. Gu Shan, come with me." The woman came forward, grabbed Gu Shan's hand, and once again disappeared without a trace. The room returned to silence. Only Buttercup was left. Buttercup blankly sat there for a while, then shrugged speechlessly. Her son suddenly appeared and yawned. "Mom, I've dispelled the concealing technique." Buttercup nodded, then continued to mutter. "Just like that, a girl was lured away," her son said. "I have to correct myself. The one who was lured away was the strongest girl in this city." Buttercup turned to her son. Her son was surprised, then hurriedly smiled. "Mom, you're also very strong, but you're a young married woman, so your rank is a bit higher." Chapter 1443. The City Lord's Manor. Gu Shan and the woman appeared in a secret room. Gu Shan, the most pressing matter right now is that over 100 of the City Lord's Manor's guards died at once. There's no way such a huge incident wouldn't go unnoticed, so the various forces are all asking for the reason, the woman explained. "Were they killed because of the card I gave you just now?" Gu Shan asked. "That's right. I have a way to cover it up, but it would cause everyone to panic. So I want to hear if you have any other solutions," the woman replied. "I do." Gu Shan took out the black handbook and casually said, "Remember, as soon as they've all arrived, immediately release the first card I gave you a minute later." The City Lord's Manor's conference room. The big shots of various forces had arrived. After all, something happened to the City Lord's Manor, and it happened at such a crucial time, so everyone wanted to know the truth of the matter. The woman looked at the big shots, sitting calmly, and explained the reason. "As you all know, I used a spell to find out who the traitors are, and killed quite a few guards. And so, please prepare yourself," she raised a card and chanted. "The life and death of all things is but an instant. With my power of condemnation, all evil that manipulates you shall be eliminated." A holy light flashed. Every big shot in the conference room was illuminated by the light and sat calmly. Not a single person died. The woman sighed in relief and declared, "Very well. At least none of the leaders on our side have been manipulated. Is your examination technique really effective?" Someone couldn't help but ask. "It has been proven. It is indeed effective." The woman then took out another card and continued. "Although the leaders of your side have not been manipulated, there's no guarantee that your subordinates won't be affected. I will now examine your subordinates. Remember, every member of the Wraith Realm who is selected to go through this examination." The big shots exchanged glances. "Excuse me, can I take a look at that card?" A middle-aged man wearing a black top hat asked. The card was tossed into the air and slowly landed in front of him. "How is it, Captain?" the woman asked. "It really is a type of purifying card from the inner plane. Its level is quite high, so I think it's worth a try," the middle-aged man who was referred to as the leader said. He passed the card to the next person. The big shots looked at the cards one by one. Although they were not proficient in card techniques, with their strength, they could naturally sense that this card was indeed used for inspection. That was enough for them to make a judgment. "There's no harm in being cautious. Since the leader of the card hunting group has said so, I think we should test it," said a tree spirit. "That's right. Our strength is great, so there won't be any problems. However, there's no guarantee that the people below will be controlled," the Assassin Guild's leader said. "Agreed," the ominous Demon Tower's Tower Master agreed. "Let's test it. Don't worry. Call your men over." The big shots were all talking at once. Very quickly, all the forces that were transferred to the Wraith Realm were gathered at the City Lord's Manor. In front of everyone's eyes, the woman raised the card and muttered, "The life and death of all things is but an instant. With my power of condemnation, all evil that manipulates you shall be destroyed." A holy white light flashed. A portion of them screamed in pain as black shadows flew out from their bodies, circling in the air, trying to escape. But under the blinding light, they were quickly reduced to nothingness like melted snow in the presence of a flame. All the big shots looked at this scene with ashen faces. They didn't think that so many of their subordinates would be controlled before even heading to the Wraith Realm. If they were to go to the Wraith Realm like this, they wouldn't even know how they died. Fortunately, the City Lord's Manor acted in time to resolve this huge problem. The woman waved her hand to dismiss the subordinates of the various forces. The big shots returned to the conference hall. "Then, are we going to cancel the plan?" one of the big shots asked. "No, this matter has always been carried out in secret. I intend to keep it a secret and proceed as planned," the woman replied. Another big shot asked. But wouldn't the deaths of these people cause the wraiths to be cautious? Someone shook their head. Our true plan is only known by everyone here. These subordinates wouldn't receive the order until the very moment we activate it, the Hitman Guild's master said. Indeed, that is indeed the case. Up until now, the wraiths still don't know our true plan, an old man with a blade on his back said. The deaths of these people can be used to deter the wraiths, preventing them from trying anything funny. That's right. After this examination, we've eliminated the traitor. The follow-up plan will have a greater chance of success, the card hunting squad's leader agreed. His tone changed and asked in a seemingly nonchalant manner. However, this card is incredibly useful. Who exactly would have the ability of this inner plane card? Everyone went silent. The woman smiled and replied, It's a secret. You can't even tell us? The card hunting squad's leader asked. Of course not. His safety is directly related to the cleanliness of our subordinates. So, I will keep his identity a secret. That's right, someone agreed. That's right. Such a rare ability should be protected well. This topic was then left untouched. Very quickly, the big shots unanimously decided that after eliminating the traitor, they would select a new group of people to quickly prepare for the plan. The woman returned to the secret room. Everything has been settled. It's all thanks to you this time. She stared closely at Gu Qingshan and said. Gu Qingshan asked, What exactly was the situation like? The woman then explained the entire situation in detail. Gu Qingshan listened very seriously, even asking a few questions at times. It wasn't until about 10 minutes later that he finally finished asking about everything. What do you plan to do next? Gu Qingshan asked. The woman replied, According to the original plan, I will personally head to the Wraith Realm. You can't go, Gu Qingshan said. The woman paused briefly, then continued. In truth, even if there's a traitor, I wouldn't be afraid of anything, because my personal strength is already there, as are the big shots of Void City. We have the strength to directly declare war against the Wraith Realm. The reason why we chose to ambush them was to gain the upper hand from the very start of the war, Gu Qingshan slowly said. You still can't go. The woman's beautiful eyebrows twitched, then slowly flattened out. Gu Qingshan, why do you still think I can't go? She suppressed her emotions and asked. Because the wraiths are determined to get their hands on you, and my card can only detect those under their control, not those who have secretly sided with the wraiths, Gu Qingshan replied. As the woman was about to say something, Gu Qingshan raised his hand to stop her. Actually, of the two cards I gave you, one was real and one was fake, he said. The woman was a bit surprised, then repeated. One was real and one was fake? The one I used on the big shots of each organization was fake. The one I used on their subordinates was real. Why did you do that? Firstly, to prove that the death of the City Lord's Manners Guards was indeed because you were searching for traitors. Secondly, to prove that there are traitors in each organization, and to kill them all on the spot. Thirdly, to let everyone know that there are no issues with the big shots. This way they can rest assured, as well as to make those who have sided with the Wraith think that powerful people won't be detected. Once I've used them to lure the snake out of its hole, they'll become worthless, and I'll use the card to kill them. Fourthly, since you've already eliminated all the traitors, the organization will be more cohesive. You'll definitely proceed according to the original plan. As soon as the Wraiths receive the news, they'll also make the appropriate adjustments and wait for you to arrive, which means the true battle has only just begun. The woman was stunned. No wonder he told me to use the first card right away, and I thought that both cards were real. But this way, my expression, attitude, and words would all be fine. This man, he even deceived me when he did things. But the results were surprisingly good. After a long moment of hesitation, she finally asked, with me watching over the rear, the wraiths wouldn't dare to attack those who enter their world? Gu Qingshan replied, No, the situation has changed. Now, I'm going to bait them into action. That way, I'll be able to see the wraiths' true strength and weaknesses, and it'll be easier for me to act in the shadows. But you won't let me go, the woman replied. Gu Qingshan looked at her from top to bottom, seemingly evaluating her. Being stared at like that, the woman suddenly thought of something and asked, Wait a minute, you want someone else to disguise themselves as me and enter the Wraith Realm, while the real me stays in Void City and command from the shadows? Gu Shan nodded, then slowly replied, "Take them by surprise, attack when they're least prepared. The general will be safe. This is an undefeatable situation, but who can disguise themselves as me? Could it be you?" The woman asked with interest. "I can't, because I have other things to do, but I have a suitable candidate," Gu Shan replied. "He's not strong. Disguising himself as me is the same as seeking death," the woman replied. "Don't worry, he's a titled hitman," Gu Shan replied. Chapter 1444. Inside the Secret Room. Titled Hitman? Which one? The woman asked. Crow, Gu Shan replied. The woman recalled briefly and recalled Crow's appearance. "This man is ridiculously beautiful. Choosing him to pretend to be me would really work." "Is this person reliable?" the woman asked. Gu Shan casually replied, "I think he's reliable, but for the sake of safety, I'll use a divine word, technique on him once, that's good. Are you sure you can convince him to pretend to be me?" The woman asked again. "I can't guarantee that. So wait here for me, I'll go ask around," Gu Shan said. The woman scowled. "It's best if you hurry, because the day of departure isn't too far away. The person pretending to be me will have to quickly imitate my every action, every movement, every expression, every word of speech. He must fully adapt to a feminine lifestyle." Gu Shan froze, then muttered, "According to what you said, if I want to convince him, will it be very difficult?" the woman asked. "No, I think the difficulty has been greatly reduced." Saying so, Gu Shan manifested a white fog behind him. He retreated into the white fog and disappeared from the secret room. A few moments later, he directly appeared in the lobby of the Hitman Guild. "Your Excellency, Dragon King of Atrocity Jail. You've returned." The staff greeted him one after another. "Ah, that's right, I wanted to ask if Crow is in the guild," Gu Shan said. He returned, changed his clothes, then went to a bar, one of the staff replied. "Do you know which bar it was?" "I'm not sure. Your Excellency, here is your titled hitman badge." "All right, thank you. I'll go look for it myself." Gu Shan received the badge and disappeared. In places like bars, to prevent customers from causing trouble, there would usually be various defensive and concealment measures. Because of that, Gu Shan's inner sight was useless, so he had no choice but to search one bar at a time. As soon as he left one of the bars, he suddenly sensed something. He took out a simple bracelet made of bone from his inventory bag. This was an item from the Tomb of Myriad Beasts, a gift from Zhao Qiong. A female voice came from the bracelet. "Gu Shan, can you hear me?" This was Shan Hai Chi Xia, the only person in the entire Tomb of Myriad Beasts who managed to escape the control of the Soul Inheritance, as well as the representative of the Tomb of Myriad Beasts. "I can hear it. Did something happen on your side?" asked Gu Shan. "Nothing really happened." Shan Hai Chi Xia's voice was a bit hesitant. Gu Shan didn't say anything and waited silently. "Sure enough," Shan Hai Chi Xia quickly explained, "we've cultivated some of the inheritances that you brought out from the Great Tomb. Coupled with the fact that the Tomb of Myriad Beasts was originally a world that had fused 99% of the Beast King realm, we've been able to improve very quickly. The strength of the entire Tomb of Myriad Beasts is constantly increasing. But all of us have learned to restrain and restrain ourselves, so the outside world doesn't know about our true situation." "And then?" Gu Shan asked in a timely manner. Shan Hai Chi Xia replied, "Although we're getting stronger and stronger, I'm the only one who has truly developed my spirit sense. I'm feeling more and more uneasy." Gu Shan stopped in place. Shan Hai Chi Xia was a very capable and opinionated person. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to lead the school of Shanghai for so many years and even avoided being taken over by the inheritance. If it were anything else, she wouldn't be in such a hurry to tell me. Gu Shan thought for a bit, then said, "The great tomb above your heads has gathered countless apocalypses. Although its eruption has been temporarily delayed, it's still a great threat. So you must be feeling uneasy," Shan Hai Chi Xia replied. "It's not about the great tomb. In truth, during my deep meditation, I sensed many strange entities All of them seem to be restlessly waiting for something. I'm guessing that something is about to happen, and it seems to be related to the future, Gu Shan asked. What is it? Do you feel anything? I'm not sure, but it seems to be related to the inheritance, exuding the boundless will of iron and blood. Shan Haichi Xia's voice became a bit dreamy. Like a war, it's calling out to us. That thought flashed through Gu Shan's mind. His tone slowed down and softly said, I understand. You need to be on your guard. If you sense anything amiss, immediately leave the tomb of myriad beasts. Your lives are more important than vengeance. We need to avoid the calamity first. I understand, Shan Haichi Xia replied. Contact me at any time. Got it, the call ended. Gu Shan thought for a bit more. Samsara clash for supremacy. He muttered in a low voice, then disappeared. A minute later, he finally found Crow. Unexpectedly, Crow wasn't in a bar, but rather was lying outside a bar, in a secluded corner, holding a bottle of liquor and slowly drinking it. Gu Shan crouched down in front of Crow and asked in surprise, What happened to you? I originally wanted to find a woman to marry. The wedding had already been prepared, Crow replied in a low voice. Gu Shan looked at him and slowly understood. When we were lost in the Saint Spirit world, everyone outside thought that we were dead, so your fiancée also thought that you were dead? Gu Shan asked. That's right. She ran away with another man, Crow replied. Gu Shan shrugged, doubtfully asking, Wouldn't it be better to just explain it clearly and steal it back? Crow smiled bitterly, then took the bottle of liquor and poured it into his mouth. Gu Shan looked at his expression and muttered, I'm afraid there's more to it than that, Bam. The door of the opposite bar was pushed open. Several drunk men walked out, each with a woman in their arms. As soon as they saw Crow, they laughed. Ahaha, a former titled hitman. Now that you've lost all your abilities, you're nothing but a cripple from now on. One of the bulky men pushed the woman in his arms forward and called out, Lisa, say goodbye to this cripple. The woman appeared sympathetic and said, Crow, I hope you'll be fine from now on. Saying so, she retreated and leaned against the bulky man again. Gu Shan tilted his head. It was very rare for him to do something like this, but the situation today was something that even he couldn't quite understand. What happened? He sent his voice to ask Crow. It's actually nothing, Crow lazily sent his voice. I was just joking around, telling her that I was heavily wounded during the battle and lost most of my powers. Then I was beaten up by someone who overheard me. Then she turned around and joined up with those people. Saying so, he took another gulp of liquor. You didn't retaliate? Gu Shan asked. I didn't. I've been showing signs of breaking through recently, on the verge of erupting. So, I used a secret technique to suppress it. Normal people wouldn't be able to tell, so I didn't dare to act recklessly. That would easily kill a lot of people, Crow replied. Gu Shan understood. Did it hurt? He curiously asked. Crow glared at him, then replied, Their fists were as soft as cotton. What does it feel like to be betrayed by a woman? Gu Shan asked again. I was probably too much of a playboy before, so now it's my turn to get a taste of it. I really have to say, under very rare circumstances, fate is quite fair. Saying so, Crow gulped down more and more liquor. Gu Shan stared at the group of people, watching their mischievous expressions. Listen to me. I have a quest here, rather than drinking here. How about you come with me to do a quest? Gu Shan said. My heart is wounded. I need to rest for a while, Crow replied. How about I sing you a song to cheer you up? Gu Shan suggested. Singing probably won't be able to comfort me, Crow replied. I'll take you to see the city lord's daughter. She's very beautiful. Even more beautiful than you, Gu Shan said. Crow's ears perked up. Birds, when they're excited, their ears would twitch uncontrollably. Crow sighed, then shook his head. I'm still not that motivated. My wedding took an entire year to prepare. I'm so sad. I don't really understand this, but this really is the most important moment of one's life. I can understand how you feel. Gu Shan consoled him. Can't you say anything useful at all? How could such dry words comfort my soul? Crow glared at him with his beautiful eyes. Gu Shan thought for a bit, then clapped her hands. Just look at how beautiful this world is. How is it beautiful? Crow glanced at her. Gu Shan pointed at the group of men and women in front of her and explained, "In this era of apocalypse, every powerful man would want to take care of a few girls to ensure their safety. And every girl is so understanding and considerate. After knowing that you're a piece of trash, afraid that they'll bring you trouble, they've all actively distanced themselves from you." Crow went silent for a while, then muttered, "I'm so touched. So let's go. We're going to meet the city lord's daughter. I swear, you've never seen such a beautiful woman," Gu Shan said. "Wait a minute. What are we going to meet her for?" Crow asked with a serious expression. "I want you to disguise yourself as her. Receive numerous kidnappings and assassinations. In short, you need to know how to disguise yourself as a super beautiful, super powerful woman," Gu Shan replied. "What's the reward?" Crow asked. "She's the true ruler of Void City. You can ask her for anything you want," Gu Shan replied. Crow scoffed, then said, "Disguising myself as a woman is a very difficult task. Normal people wouldn't be able to do it, so the reward I want isn't cheap." Gu Shan silently looked at Crow's hand. Crow's hand was originally holding the bottle of liquor, but now he couldn't help but lift his pinky. Gu Shan stood up with Crow. "What do you want from her?" Gu Shan casually asked. "I didn't manage to hold my 100th wedding. This is the greatest humiliation I've ever suffered. I want such an esteemed person like her to preside over my 100th wedding to make up for my current failure," Crow replied. Gu Shan glared at him and repeated, 100 th? "That's right," Crow replied. "What about your previous wives? Their relationship broke down. You broke it down too quickly." Crow sighed. "They were all after my peerless beauty and peerless strength. None of them cared about my heart." Gu Shan went silent for a long while. "Crow, what? If you get married again, please don't tell me." Chapter 1445. Disguising as the City Lord's daughter and going to the Wraith Realm to play around. How exciting would that be? Not to mention the generous remuneration. I can't refuse. Then let me make one final point clear. I won't actually marry a Wraith. Crow continued to send his voice. Gu Shan shrugged. "Of course that, the City Lord's daughter said that your disguise technique can be dispelled at any time. I believe that after you dispel it, no Wraith would want to marry you again." The two of them went silent. Crow rubbed his own face with his hand, pondering, what if the female Wraith takes a liking to me? That's a problem, Gu Shan agreed. Regardless, this is a very dangerous matter. We need to meet her first and discuss this further, Gu Shan continued. Let's go, Crow replied. At this point, the robust men who brought the girls with them came forward again. "I just remembered, although you've lost all of your powers, you must have saved quite a bit of money over the years," one of them said. Crow replied, "That's right, I'm very rich. You can simply retire and live a good life in Void City," another person said. "Indeed," Crow agreed. The men exchanged glances, then slowly grinned. A gust of wind swept through the void of space. All of them had been turned into headless corpses. The girls screamed in fear, then ran back into the bar. Crow looked at the corpses on the ground, then at Gu Shan. "I'm very touched, but killing them would lower our status," Crow said. "I just checked the wanted list. They're in the business of human trafficking," Gu Shan said. "In this apocalyptic era, people and labor are needed everywhere. The only reason why human traffickers like them can exist in Void City is because of the tacit approval of those big shots," Crow said. "Crow, I've never liked to kill people. Unless there's a good reason," Gu Shan said. Crow paused, then sincerely told him, "Dragon King, you're now a titled hitman, so it's very expensive for you to act. These lackeys aren't worth even a finger from you. Meeting each other is fate. Missing it would be regretful," Gu Shan replied. He took out the assassin's emblem and whispered a few words. Soon, a man and a woman flew over from the sky. They were both staff members of the Assassin Guild. One of them was the woman who had received Gu Shan back then, Qin. "Your Excellency, Dragon King, did you call us?" she asked with a smile. Gu Shan pointed to the ground and said, "Today, I've been promoted to a titled assassin. Take these human traffickers and exchange them for some money. I'll treat everyone to a drink." The eyes of the two staff members lit up. The male staff member said, "Your Excellency, you're really, how generous," Jean praised. They said with a smile and cleaned up the ground at an extremely professional speed. Crow shook his head and sighed. Those people definitely have accomplices. They'll probably come looking for you again. Gu Qingshan asked curiously, "You were beaten up and you still prophesied for someone else?" Crow realized and immediately changed the topic, continuing the first half of his sentence. But those people were truly very weak. In the next second, the women who had escaped earlier ran out with a group of people in the bar. "That's them." The woman called Liz pointed at Crow and Gu Qingshan. Everyone turned to look at them. Gu Qingshan turned around and asked Qin, "It takes a lot of effort to use the badge to check. Can you help me take a look at these people and see who's on the wanted list?" Qin glanced over them and replied, "They're all members of the same group. You and everyone else are on the wanted list, but no one has ever killed them, because their existence was tacitly agreed to by several big shots." Gu Qingshan smiled faintly. "Seems like we got a bit more money," he muttered. "Oi." As soon as the leader of the group uttered a single word, his head had already disappeared. A gust of wind blew past. All the human traffickers on the wanted list had been turned into headless corpses. An autumn water clear blue sword hovered in the air, drawing a beautiful arc in the air, seemingly unsatisfied. A titled assassin killing human traffickers. What a waste of talent, Crow shook his head. "I'll also treat you to supper tonight," Gu Qingshan told Qin. "All right, that should be enough," Qin smiled and said. She looked at the fiend in front of her. This is a truly terrifying fiend. When he first joined the guild, I was worried that fiends like to deceive people and would disturb the guild's order. But not only did he save me once, he also became a titled assassin in such a short amount of time. His name resounded throughout the void. I wonder if my race can intermarry with an evil creature. I'll have to quickly look into this when I return. Qin silently thought. Crow suddenly said, "Ah, I forgot just now they have a boss. He's quite impressive." Gu Qingshan glared at him. Crow awkwardly replied, "Sorry about that. Even I couldn't stop my premonition." A furious roar resounded in the bar. "Who dares to kill my people?" The door was pushed open as a man covered in tattoos walked out. As soon as he stood in front of Gu Qingshan and Crow, his chest was pierced through by an extremely sharp rapier. Ugh! The man gulped a few times, then died on the spot. Qin observed the man's corpse and said, "The leader of the Golden Slave Hunters specialized in selling women and children of various races to provide high-quality slaves for a few VIPs, which was why he was able to establish himself in Void City." Crow drew his rapier, then turned around and asked, "This guy is still worth a bit of money. What should we do with him?" Gu Qingshan pondered. Other than those forces that require slaves, are there any organizations in Void City that help the weak? Crow replied, "That would be the Splendor Church. Although the angels of those churches are stubborn, they're truly trustworthy when it comes to helping the weak." Gu Qingshan decided. "Qin, donate this guy's bounty to the Splendor Church. Specifically use it to help the weak." "Yes, Sir Dragon King," Qin replied. "Wait a minute." Crow turned around. Liz trembled as she looked at him and asked, Didn't you lose your powers?" Crow paused, then scowled. "That's right, I lost my powers. Then why did you kill them? Were you lying to me before?" Liz asked. "I was just joking." "What?" "I don't care, you heartless liar." Liz ran over and jumped into Crow's embrace. Crow was surprised, then hugged her tightly. "Our relationship has already been broken. Even if you obtain my body like this, you won't be able to obtain my heart." Crow sighed. "I don't care. I just like you," Liz said. Crow looked at Gu Qingshan with a troubled expression. Gu Qingshan was fine with killing people, but what could she do about this? Suddenly, a dignified male voice resounded. "In the name of the Holy Father, I thank the Dragon King for your donation, as well as make my verdict on your Excellency Crow's marriage. The two of you are unsuitable." Everyone followed the voice and saw a gentle-looking man standing at the intersection of the street. A gentle halo of light hovered above his head. Chapter 1446. Qin and the other staff member had already left, preparing to exchange the heads of the human traffickers for the bounty. In the end, Liz didn't dare to disobey the angel. That would be the same as going against the splendid temple. She could only reluctantly leave. Only Guqin Shan, Crow, and the familiar angel. Their gazes were focused on the glowing ring above the angel's head. So, you no longer a librarian? Guqin Shan asked. Omaki sighed. I came out to hide for 2 days, but I happened to see Crow in trouble, so I helped him out. You're no longer in the Void Library? Guqin Shan and Crow both asked. Omaki was a bit dispirited. As a librarian, I face the apocalypse every day in search of knowledge, risking my life and risking my life, but I wasn't even allowed to go to a concert after I returned. Living without any personal space like this is completely meaningless. That's true, Crow agreed. Then why did you turn into an angel? Guqin Shan asked. You mean this? Omaki followed their gazes and took off the glowing ring above his head. A hovering circular light bulb, a product of technology, capable of changing into 7 colors according to personal preference, Omaki pridefully introduced it. Guqin Shan and Crow were both stunned. So you weren't an angel from the splendid temple after all, Crow sighed in relief. Why do you seem so scared? Guqin Shan asked. Those angels are really rigid. I don't want to have anything to do with them, Crow replied. Omaki pressed a certain part of the ring. The glowing white ring turned into a faint pink color. Ah, this color is really cute. Is it a pink angel? Crow asked. Omaki raised his thumb. You know your stuff. This is a limited edition proof of believers. Guqin Shan received the ring of light, then asked, Omaki, aren't you afraid of the church finding out that you're pretending to be an angel? The church gave it to me. Omaki puffed out his chest. Looking at Guqin Shan's puzzled expression, he explained, I often donate to the church. When I reach a certain amount, the angels gave me this halo, which means that I am immortal under the protection of the church. How much money did you donate? Crow asked. Omaki said a number. Crow whistled, saying, I didn't think you'd be so rich. Is it true that the more money we donate to the church, the better the reward we get? Guqin Shan asked. That's right. If you can donate an astronomical figure, then you could be reincarnated as a true angel, or even be given a certain amount of authority, Crow replied. Yeah, money is everything. Which force doesn't want money? Omaki said. As Guqin Shan listened to their conversation, she couldn't help but think of Lola. She could bring Lola to Void City in the future. This would be her home turf. Crow asked in a low voice, Omaki, where did you get so much money to exchange the light bulbs with the angels? Omaki lowered his voice. This is all of my research funds. I'm currently researching the relationship between money and the church's authority. Research does require a lot of money. Where did your funds come from? Guqin Shan followed up with another question. Evil creatures, Omaki replied. All right, I should have guessed. Only evil creatures would be interested in the church, Guqin Shan replied. Omaki looked down at his watch, then immediately said, I'll talk to you later. I need to go to a concert. Ah, we also have something to do. See you later, see you. The 3 of them flickered and flew off in 2 different directions. The City Lord's Manor. The secret room. The woman walked around Crow, then nodded to Guqin Shan. Your appearance is quite decent. I heard that you've dressed as a woman before, but I'm not sure if you've been controlled, the woman said. Guqin Shan took out the black handbook and chanted an incantation. Divine word, ring. A flash of light enveloped Crow. He was completely unharmed. Kurt Death Silver Crow, I trust that Guqin Shan has already told you everything. Are you willing to disguise as me and enter the Wraith Realm? The woman asked. Crow turned to Guqin Shan. Guqin Shan replied, My real name is Guqin Shan. Since you're willing to tell me your real name, your original race isn't an evil creature, correct? Crow asked. Correct. I'm human. For safety's sake, I didn't tell you before, Guqin Shan replied. Crow appeared prideful, then said, I knew you weren't an evil creature. Why not? Because you're much more ruthless than an evil creature. Crow turned back to the city lord's daughter, silently marveling at her beauty, but kept a straight face. Esteemed lady, may we have the honor of learning your name? I am the Fate Master Fei Yu, the daughter of Void City City Lord, and I am currently in charge of the entirety of Void City, the woman replied. Fate Master. Crow was shocked. then couldn't help but ask, "Are all of your techniques fate type?" "That's right. You're about to disguise as me. While Gu Shan has the same goal as me. I trust him, as well as the person who recommended him. So you should know a bit about me now." Fei Yu opened her palm and spoke with a calm expression. "All of my abilities are fate type, the most important of which is called hidden threads." A thin black thread appeared from all 5 of her fingers, went straight into the void, and disappeared without a trace. A second later, a thread was lightly attached to Crow's shoulder. "Is this a guaranteed hit?" Crow looked at his own shoulder and asked. "Indeed. I've seen the connection between us," Fei Yu replied. "I will prepare the payment you want after this is over." Crow was surprised. "You know what payment I want? What exactly is this ability about?" Fei Yu explained, "Living beings, all things, everything. I can see the connection between them through a few extrapolations, then use this connection to discover the truth, predict the future, launch an attack, or do something else at the right time." Crow thought for a bit. Then his expression turned serious. "If I wanted to kill someone, I wouldn't even need to meet them. I only need to find something related to them to do it." Gu Shan didn't say anything, but was thinking of Lin. Lin also had a fate-type ability. Existence, both existence and hidden threads, were abilities that were almost impossible to counter. Fate-type abilities are truly terrifying. As Fei Yu pulled her hand back, the 5 black threads that went deep into the void of space disappeared without a trace. "Now that you have a basic understanding of me, Crow, you must imitate my words and actions for the next half a month to pass off as the real me," Fei Yu said. "No problem, but my strength has already reached a bottleneck, and I'm about to break through. So I might need a bit more time," Crow replied. Fei Yu looked at him, then at Gu Shan. "Indeed, the Saint Spirit world that you went to had immense world origin power. So after fighting there for a while, your personal strength had also greatly improved. Before leaving, Gu Shan also has a chance to advance. But that will depend on his luck." Gu Shan was surprised. Advancing to Star River Saint Realm wasn't something that could be accomplished overnight, so even he himself hadn't noticed any signs of advancement yet. "Crow, you have 1.5 days to advance. Then it will be over immediately. Come find me at that time," Fei Yu said. 1.5 days is enough," Crow nodded. Fei Yu then turned to Gu Shan and said, "Your advancement is imperative. I can sense that your life and death will depend on this advancement. Why do you say that?" Gu Shan asked. "If you don't advance, you will face countless difficulties after entering the Wraith Realm. Only after advancing and your strength greatly increases would our plans have a chance of being realized. I don't know too much about this advancement, so I want to borrow a few cultivation books from the City Lord's Manor," Gu Shan replied. Star River Saint. There was a huge gap between Summer Lord Realm and Star River Saint Realm. Who would have thought this gap would be filled up by an extremely powerful world? However, the advancement to Star River Saint was different from the other realms of cultivation, and Gu Shan didn't know too much about Star River Saints. This realm was too mysterious. "No problem, I'll give it to you right now." Saying so, Fei Yu casually waved her hand. Boom! The ground trembled. A piece of white jade that was several hundred meters long appeared in the secret room. This is a collection of advanced cultivation knowledge from the City Lord's Manor, compiled into a large jade tag. "Keep it safe," Fei Yu told him. Gu Shan put her hand on the white jade and put it back into her inventory bag. "Thank you. I can't thank you enough," he clasped his fist. "No need to thank me. I'm only doing this for the sake of our plan. Gu Shan, the stronger you are, the greater our chances of success." Fei Yu smiled and said, "I still need to thank you. I'll be leaving right now. I'll return as soon as I finish my advancement," Gu Shan said in a low voice. Fei Yu and Crow both nodded. Gu Shan walked into the white fog and disappeared from the secret room. Chapter 1447. Gu Shan sat on top of the cliff, looking at the boundless darkness. This was a barren world. Other than the space vortex, there were only layers of mysterious runes that occasionally glowed in the darkness. Isolation runes. The entire world was in a state of isolation. Buttercup stood behind him and said, This is a cultivation world that our ominous demon tower collected. There are no longer any people here, but the world's origin still exists, Gu Qingshan replied. Thank you for lending this world to me, Buttercup nodded. Then I won't bother you any longer. Take your time to break through. There won't be such a safe environment in the Wraith realm, all right, I'll do my best. Gu Qingshan replied. Buttercup's figure flickered and disappeared into the darkness. She had returned. At this point, the only person left in this world was Gu Qingshan. Gu Qingshan took out a cushion, placed it on top of the cliff, and sat down to silently ponder. Fortunately, with Fei Yu's Jade Tag, the City Lord's Manor's collection of cultivation-type scriptures was even more complete than many other cultivation worlds. And now, Gu Qingshan finally understood a bit about the process of becoming a Star River Saint. To achieve this realm, 3 conditions must be fulfilled. Firstly, the total amount of spirit energy must be twice that of a Sumeru Lord. The more spirit energy one has, the more powerful the techniques they can perform, so increasing the total amount of spirit energy is the most basic requirement. Gu Qingshan silently evaluated the spirit energy in his dantian and quickly found the answer. Thanks to the battle in the Saint Spirit world, I absorbed the powerful origin of that world, so my spirit energy should be almost enough. I only need to silently cultivate for another 10 days to reach the required amount of spirit energy. However, just reaching the required amount of spirit energy isn't enough. I still need to fulfill the second condition. The inheritance of the samsara. The inheritances of the samsara are as vast as the Milky Way, innumerable. As long as I can obtain even one of them, I would be able to trigger the power of the inheritance itself and aid my breakthrough. In other cultivation worlds, there were also people who could obtain inheritances, but the inheritances of those worlds were quite normal, unlike the tomb of myriad beasts where the Wraith realm coveted them and had their souls replaced. Gu Qingshan silently felt glad that she had made a trip to the tomb of myriad beasts earlier. There, he obtained the inheritance of the 6 paths, ethereal. It seemed to be one of the most powerful legacies in the great necropolis. According to the war god UI's notification, this inheritance even represented an identity that could participate in the samsara clash for supremacy. Now that he had the spiritual energy and the inheritance, there was only one condition left for him to advance to Celestial River Saint. Saint selection. The explanation was simple. There was only one sentence. Choose a suitable world as your path. There was a note at the end. All the powerful cultivation worlds know the importance of the chosen saint. They usually choose the heavenly realm or the Beast King realm, because according to legends, the heavenly realm is the strongest. In reality, the Beast King realm has the highest degree of fusion and can provide Star River Saints with many insights. Recalling the description on the Jade Tag, Gu Qingshan couldn't help but silently sigh. With a wave of his hand, the Chaoyin sword, Earth sword, and 6 paths Great Mountain sword appeared from the void of space in front of him. Gongzi, why did you call us out? Shanu asked. Gu Qingshan replied, I have something I want to hear your suggestions about. Go ahead, the Earth sword replied. Gu Qingshan paused for a bit, then asked, Among the samsara worlds, if I wanted to choose a world, which one should I choose? The Earth sword replied, That depends on what you want to do with the world you want to choose. What do you mean? If you want to drink alcohol, flirt with girls, and enjoy life, then the mortal realm would naturally be the most suitable world for you, the Earth sword replied. I need a world that can represent the path I choose, Gu Qingshan replied. Gongzi, then it must be the heaven realm. You've seen a few immortal crafts and experienced how powerful they are. So, the heaven realm should be the most powerful world, Shanu said. Gu Qingshan thought for a bit, then said, Now that I think about it, of all the worlds we've been to, only my homeworld Samsara was nearly complete. That's right, the Earth Sword confirmed it. My homeworld also had a Wraith realm, and even though those Wraiths were weak, they were still true Wraiths, but the heaven realm of my homeworld is actually the descendants of the Inner Planes divinities. This is very strange, Shanu added. According to the Jade Tag, none of the heaven realms of the Samsara worlds have any people, so those descendants of the divinities should have gone there later, Gu Qingshan said. The Earth Sword continued. The tomb of myriad beasts is full of humans, and there are no truly powerful beasts, Gu Shan followed up. The Wraith realm is also full of humans. There are no true wraiths, Shanu suddenly said. But the world of Huang Quan has dead people, hell, the Forgetting River, and the Grand Tai Wei Mountain. It's almost like a complete Huang Quan world. Gu Shan was a bit surprised. That's right, he muttered. Other than Huang Quan, we don't actually know much about the Samsara worlds. Tapping his inventory bag, Gu Shan took out the Devil King Warden Rod. He lightly stroked the rod, muttering in a low voice. For some reason, when I was choosing a Samsara world, only when I thought of the Huang Quan realm did I feel a bit more at ease. So you're not going to choose another world? The Earth Sword asked. Yes, Gu Shan slowly made up his mind and said, I have the Devil King's deific authority of Huang Quan, as well as the Grand Tai Wei Mountain Divine Sword that stabilized the Samsara world. Both of these are powers that exist in Huang Quan. Gongzi wants to choose Huang Quan? Shano asked. Gu Shan fell silent. Countless years ago, the Samsara was destroyed. Whether it was the apocalypse or something else, there was a single thing that could destroy the entire Samsara, causing countless fragments of the Samsara to scatter within the space vortex. No. Gu Shan suddenly squinted his eyes, exuding a different aura. He had been so busy dealing with various matters that it was only now that he had the chance to silently think about everything. He noticed something amiss. The Wraith realm destroyed many parallel worlds and used fate corrosion to attack the Eternal Abyss. Could the fragments of the Samsara world have been scattered across many parallel worlds? After all, the parallel worlds are only a smokescreen. Taking a step further, could it be that many of the Samsara's secrets are also hidden within parallel worlds? The Tomb of Myriad Beasts claimed to have fused 99% of the Beast King realm's fragments, only to create a great tomb. Could it be they only fused the majority of the Beast King realm's fragments from the current parallel worlds? Or perhaps there are even more fragments hidden within other parallel worlds. The true clue is that great tomb. But the Great Tomb hid many apocalypses, and it was temporarily sealed off by the Wraith artifact spirit, causing the delimitation sword to be completely destroyed and brought back to the Wraith realm. To find out the truth, I have to go to the Wraith realm and find that delimitation sword. Other than that, without even the Tomb of Myriad Beasts fully understanding the Beast King realm's secrets, how could I possibly choose another world? I don't understand it at all. The result of this situation was that many cultivators who chose the Beast King realm during the Saint selection were also completely clueless. The Beast King realm, they knew, was only the Beast King realm where humans existed. It wasn't the Beast King realm's true form. If I also chose the Beast King realm, even if I managed to complete the Saint selection, I would be the same as my predecessors and take many detours due to my ignorance. Gu Shan shook his head. If I hadn't discovered the truth of the Tomb of Myriad Beasts, I would have most likely chosen this world as well. In truth, if I were to compare the 6 worlds together, the one I understand the most is still the Huang Quan realm. I've decided I'll choose the Huang Quan realm, Gu Shan said. It's good that Gongzi has decided, Shanu replied. Then you can prepare to break through now. We will remain vigilant and protect you, the Earth Sword said. The Chao Yin sword vibrated. Gu Shan nodded, closed his eyes, and began to accumulate spirit energy. His breathing slowly became lighter and lighter before disappearing. Minus 10 days. I'll need around 10 days to complete this stage and attempt to break through to Star River Saint Realm. At another location, in a normal flow of time, deep within the palace walls shrouded in mist, Xia Daoling was standing under a peach blossom tree, holding 6 glittering pearls in her hand. She stared at the pearls and muttered, Heaven realm, human realm, Azura realm, animal realm, Wraith realm, Huang Quan, 6 worlds. 4 of them don't suit me. She put the 4 pearls away, leaving only the last 2 in her hand. One of them was white jade, the other was a faint yellow like mist. The strongest of the Heaven realm, undefeatable in Huang Quan, Xia Daoling's gaze fell onto the faint yellow pearl, hesitated a bit, then muttered to herself, Qing Shan has the proof of the Huang Quan Devil King, so he might choose this path. She put away the dim yellow bead. At this point, the only thing left in her hand was the white jade pearl. Then, for the saint's election, I'll just choose the heaven realm. Chapter 1448. Time passed by bit. Gu Qingshan had been sitting on top of the cliff for a total of 8 days. During these 8 days, he didn't do anything other than accumulate the spirit energy in his body. The 9th day, he finally opened his eyes. A deep blue glow circled around his body, quickly enveloping the entire mountain peak, giving off flashes of lightning. The lightning illuminated the entire world of darkness. Gu Qingshan slowly stood up and carefully sensed the spirit energy in his body. It took him 1 day less than expected. His spirit energy had reached the required level, enough to support this breakthrough. Between heaven and earth, an extremely faint sensation fell on his body. This sensation was indescribable, as if the world itself was observing Gu Qingshan. For a brief moment, the world became silent. Gu Qingshan stood alone on top of the mountain, surrounded by countless flashes of lightning, silently waiting for the situation to develop. Why do I feel like it's an identity test? War God UI, do you have any suggestions? Gu Qingshan silently asked in his mind. The War God UI lit up and replied, attempting to decipher it. Please wait. A few moments later, a line of glowing text appeared. Frowny face, your inheritance is a fist technique formed from the fusion of ethereal and the Sixth Path's great mountain sword. But your most proficient combat style is swordsmanship. The laws of heaven and earth are confused about this, so your advancement process has become stagnant. Gu Qingshan was a bit speechless. The laws of heaven and earth can't even differentiate this? He couldn't help but ask. This world is only a normal cultivation-type world. Its origin is extremely weak, so will affect your advancement to a certain extent. The War God UI replied. Is there a way to solve this? Gu Qingshan asked again. You should go to a stronger world. Any type of world is fine. The samsara will borrow the world's powerful origin power to manifest itself. Only then will you be able to smoothly break through. The War God UI replied. Keep in mind, the stronger the origin power of a world, the more powerful you will become after becoming a Star River Saint. Got it. Gu Qingshan stood on top of the mountain and silently thought for a while. Should I go to the tomb of myriad beasts? It was too late. That world was too far away, and he had teleported directly from the great necropolis to Void City. After grasping Fog Realm Descent, I haven't returned to the tomb of myriad beasts, which means I can't use Fog Realm Descent to return to that world. What kind of world could be called powerful? Gu Qingshan raised her hand and looked at the chaotic proof of the world while on her wrist. The Saint Spirit world was the strongest world among the parallel worlds. Now that it had fused with the other 2 worlds, it was likely that the entire world's law origin energy would rise to a whole new level. It was currently merging with the current flow of time and was about to become the most powerful world within the space vortex. If he could break through in the Saint Spirit world, he would probably surpass the cultivators who became galaxy sages in the past. In addition, he had chosen Yellow Springs. Based on his understanding of Yellow Springs, he would be stronger than those people after the Saint's election. Although the Saint Spirit world was evolving, he could still try to communicate with it. Maybe he could go there? Gu Qingshan took a deep breath and spoke to the world proof on her wrist. Will of the Saint Spirit world, I know that your world is currently evolving, but I'm currently in a bit of trouble. Can you allow me to face my tribulation in your world? No answer. Gu Qingshan replied. It will be done very quickly. I won't disturb any of your matters. No answer. Gu Qingshan sincerely persuaded them. Me becoming stronger is actually a good thing. If you have any problems in the future, you can always come find me. We'll help each other out. The world proof didn't react at all. Gu Qingshan sighed. Can't you at least tell me if you can or not? The world proof abruptly gave off a cluster of light that manifested as an open gate in the air. With a ho sound, Gu Qingshan was sucked into the gate. A split second later, Gu Shan found herself standing on top of a boundless blue ocean. Below her feet was a large piece of ice floating on the surface of the ocean. Thousands of voices resounded in her ears. "The ocean is yours. The land is evolving. Don't go." This was the voice of the world's spirit. Gu Shan immediately replied, "Thank you. I'm more familiar with this environment. It's fine if I don't go to the land." No answer. The world's spirit had left. Gu Shan closed her eyes and resumed her preparations. A few moments later, deep blue lightning began to radiate from his body, spreading in every direction. Between heaven and earth, an extremely faint sensation fell upon his body. This sensation appeared again. Both the sky and the sea were silent. Gu Shan stood on top of the boundless ocean, silently waiting. All of a sudden, he sensed a certain thought. Rather than a thought, it was actually some sort of understanding that appeared in his mind. "How fast?" As expected of the strongest world, Gu Shan muttered. In this world, as soon as he triggered the laws of heaven and earth, he was recognized by the Samsara. And now, the saint's election had begun. A second later, Gu Shan abruptly looked up. The entire world before his eyes faded away, and a giant tree that connected the heavens and the earth appeared in front of him. "My God, what is this?" The earth sword's vibrating voice resounded. Not sure. Gu Shan looked at the giant tree, only to see that the top of the tree couldn't be seen, but the bottom of the tree had pierced deep into a vast expanse of murky river water. Countless dead people were drifting along the river water towards a faraway place. The giant tree stood still in the middle of the river. Forgetting River. Why is there a tree on top of the Forgetting River? Gu Shan muttered with a serious expression. At another location, after Gu Shan was taken away by the saint's spirit world spirit, the dark cultivation-type world returned to silence, returning to silence. A few dozen minutes later, two figures appeared in this world. "There's no one," one of the figures muttered. "That's right. I also noticed that Dragon King of Atrocity Jail doesn't seem to be here," the other figure said. The two of them went silent for a few moments. "How strange. Buttercup seems to have quite a close relationship with that evil creature. I thought she had borrowed a world for that evil creature, but that doesn't seem to be the case. We need to investigate the whereabouts of that Dragon King of Atrocity Jail again." While they were talking, a female voice resounded from behind. "You don't need to investigate." Buttercup walked out from the darkness. She appeared pure and beautiful, almost like a cute girl walking on a campus, completely different from this world of darkness. No one could tell that she already had a child, and she herself was an extremely rare existence among ominous demons. "Aha! Buttercup, we heard that you borrowed a world from the Tower Master, so we came to take a look out of curiosity." "That's right, we wanted to see if there was anything we could help you with." The two figures spoke flatteringly and showed themselves. They were members of the ominous Demon Tower. Two muscular adult men hurriedly walked towards Buttercup with smiles on their faces. Buttercup looked at them without changing her expression, then casually drew a card. "No wonder he gave me this card, saying that it might be useful at some point," Buttercup muttered. As soon as the two men saw the card, their expressions changed. One of them shouted, "It's the card used for the examination." The other shouted, "Oh no, run." Their figures flashed and disappeared without a trace. But Buttercup still held the card in her hand, not in a hurry to throw it out. She looked at the card from side to side for a while, then asked with interest, "So this is an interplane card? I wonder if there are any scroll users in the interplane and what kind of scrolls they use." After a while, she put the card away and carefully put it away. At this point, specks of blood began to sprinkle down from the sky. "You're looking down on me too much," Buttercup sighed and shook her head. "Do I really need to use this card to kill you?" In the sky, the two muscular men were pierced through by countless sharp bone spikes and froze in place, unable to move. These countless bone spikes covered the entire sky, with only a single thin bone spike hanging down from above, connected to Buttercup's left pinky finger. So all the bone spikes in the sky originated from her pinky finger. Buttercup slightly opened her mouth and lightly inhaled. In the sky, two figures flew out from the muscular men's bodies and quickly entered her mouth. "No, Dash, I beg you." Before the two figures could say anything else, Buttercup had already closed her mouth. She lightly chewed a few times and scowled. This taste, she licked the corner of her mouth with her pink tongue. "How is it? What taste is this? Does it taste good?" Another voice asked from the darkness. "It's the souls of wraiths. Their souls always give off the smell of expired food. It's not good at all," Buttercup commented. The man said, "How about you give me that card? I want to cleanse the tower once more, no problem." "Sir Tower Master," Buttercup threw the card to him. The man caught the card and was about to retreat into the darkness. Then he remembered something and stopped, saying, "Buttercup, I found the fifth way to turn you back into a human." Buttercup didn't respond and asked, "Or do I have to lose all of my demon powers?" "Yes," the Tower Master replied. "Then forget it. In this apocalyptic era, as long as I can obtain the power to protect myself, I don't mind becoming a demon," Buttercup replied. "I remember that you used to be a scroll user. After losing your demon powers, you can turn back into a pure human scroll user and retain the power you once had," the Tower Master said. Buttercup shook her head and sincerely replied, "Thank you for taking me in and taking care of me, but my heart can no longer return. I don't want to be a weak human girl anymore." The Tower Master sighed and slowly disappeared. His voice echoed throughout the silent world. "If the man you met when you first left home to study was Dragon King of Atrocity Jail, I'm guessing a lot of things would have been different." Buttercup stood in the darkness and fell into a long period of silence. Chapter 1449. Actually, I find that what the author says at the end of each chapter to be quite useful. Some authors like to put their settings at the very front of their free chapters, but I prefer what the author says. I'm planning to write about a few items, skills, biographies, and daily life. These things have nothing to do with the main storyline, but as settings for the book, they can help everyone read the story better. Some of the more interesting content might be to your liking. For example, how the Earth Sword became an old driver, how Yifei Li lived her life with her ghost girlfriend, what Zhang Yongho did to be abandoned by the president's daughter. Apart from eating and having fun, Qin Xiaolu also spent a few seconds cultivating. Where did the Lord of Blood go? And so on and so forth. Basically, it's just a few settings and trivial things. I'm planning to write about these things, and I'm planning to put them in what the author says from time to time. Let's give it a try. This is also a challenge for me. One very important point. The content of what the author says will not be counted, nor will it be charged. I hope to use this method to repay my friends who have supported the creation of this book. Chapter 1450. Gu Qingshan was standing on top of a tree branch. As the world manifested in front of his eyes and manifested into reality, he found himself standing on the branch of this tree. But he was standing on the shortest branch. Looking down, the faint yellow water of the forgetting river was flowing below his feet. If he wasn't careful, he would fall into the river and instantly become a dead person, forgetting everything in the past. Gu Qingshan stood firmly on the branch, grabbed onto the branches around him, and looked up. There weren't many leaves on the bare branches, but quite a few people were hanging from the branches. Between heaven and earth, a new understanding emerged in his heart. No tricks. No tricks. Gu Qingshan silently thought. At this point, the Earth Sword asked, "Should I just fly up?" Gu Qingshan regained his senses and replied, "I can't fly. This tree is created from the laws of the samsara. Any tricks will be rejected by the laws and judged as failure. Gongzi." "Then what do you want to do?" Shanu asked. "Climb up," Gu Qingshan curtly replied. He climbed up the tree branch step by step. Very quickly, he was far away from the forgetting river. Who would have thought the Star River tribulation for the Saint's election to be Huang Quan would be like this? The Earth Sword sighed. "Gongzi, be careful," Shanu said. Gu Qingshan maintained his calm and quickly climbed up the branches. After a while, he suddenly stopped and looked up. A hanging corpse was hanging from a tree branch in front of him. Both sides of the corpse were filled with thick branches. There were no other paths to take. Gu Qingshan continued to look up. All sorts of corpses were hanging on the path that he had to take. No tricks. Gu Qin Shan silently chanted the reminders of the laws and slowly crawled in front of the corpse. The corpse moved a bit and slowly regained consciousness. From the looks of it, it was a male cultivator when it was alive, and he was still wearing a Taoist robe. Ah, it's been a long time since a saint's election of Huang Quan. Cultivator, the corpse said. Gu Qin Shan slowly stood up from the tree branch and said, I'm not sure about that. Can you move aside? I want to go through. The corpse showed an indescribable smile and looked at Gu Qin Shan. Young man, so young. Forget it, I'll tell you. This is the chosen saint road of the Yellow Springs. You'll need to pay a sufficient price to bribe me. Only when I'm satisfied can you pass this place. What if I don't have anything to give you? Gu Qin Shan asked. The corpse appeared to be reminiscing and replied, At the time, my strength was about the same as a Star River saint, but I couldn't pass this tribulation and ended up hanging here. It looked at Gu Qin Shan, and its voice became a little more vicious. I won't die here. If you really don't listen, then prepare to die. Do you understand? Understood. As Gu Qin Shan spoke, she casually threw a punch. Ethereal Mountain. The corpse was already holding a jade ruler, but it suddenly stopped after the punch. Gu Qin Shan wielded the earth sword and slashed at the vine holding the corpse. The vines were cut. The body rolled down the tree trunk and fell. Plop! The corpse fell into the forgetting river, floated up and down a few times before disappearing. What's going on? The earth sword asked. I'm not sure, Gu Qin Shan answered. Not sure. The earth sword was speechless. The law only told me a single rule, that is, no tricks. I'm guessing that bribing this corpse is a trick, Gu Qin Shan answered. The earth sword asked, which means as long as you agreed to pay the price just now, you'll lose the qualification. Yes, Gu Qin Shan replied. Cutting the vine isn't a trick? The earth sword asked. Gu Qin Shan patiently explained. When you run into an obstacle on the road, if you go past it, it might be considered a shortcut, but if you eliminate the obstacle in order to move forward, it definitely won't be considered shortcut because that would be the dumbest way to go. As soon as she said so, an indescribable sensation came from the tree. Gu Qin Shan closed her eyes to sense it, then said in surprise, I succeeded. What? It was that easy? The earth sword doubtfully asked. Yes, being able to pass the first corpse means you barely succeeded. You can return, Gu Qin Shan answered. Barely succeeded? What if you don't return? The earth sword asked. The higher I go, the stronger the power of the samsara I'll obtain after passing the tribulation, Gu Qin Shan answered. The earth sword didn't say anything else. No need to say anything else. Gu Qin Shan would definitely continue climbing. Sure enough, Gu Qin Shan said, I want to continue climbing, if nothing else. I might be able to find out a few things about the past from the mouths of these dead people. He put his sword away and continued climbing. This tree was full of withered branches, dense and slippery, so Gu Qin Shan had to be extremely careful as he climbed. Who knows what else would appear in such a strange environment. Finally, he left the bottom of the tree and arrived in front of the second corpse. This was a female corpse. Please let me pass. I don't want to do anything unnecessary, Gu Qin Shan said. The female corpse just hung there, staring at him and asked in confusion. Within the saint selection, very few people would choose the world of Huang Quan. Most would choose the Beast King realm or the Heaven realm. Why did you choose the world of Huang Quan? Gu Qin Shan answered honestly. I'm a bit confident. What about you? I mainly wanted to take a path that very few people would take, but I failed in the end, the female corpse answered. How did you fail? Gu Qin Shan asked. The female corpse sighed. I chose Huang Quan as my world, but because I was too greedy during the Star River tribulation and wanted to pass the third layer, I was killed. Just like that, I was left here forever. Gu Qin Shan looked up, only to see another corpse hanging from the branches not too far away from the female corpse. Gu Qin Shan asked, That's why you're hanging here, to stop me from climbing? No, the female corpse answered. Gu Qin Shan was a bit surprised. The female corpse continued. The people on this tree all want to make the latecomers stay behind. That way, they would feel like their failure is nothing. I understand, Gu Qin Shan nodded. The woman continued, I don't care what they're thinking, but I can tell you that everyone on this tree can only attack a few meters in front of them. As long as you're careful, it won't be a problem for you to protect yourself and return to the tree. Gu Shan said, "Thank you for telling me that. You want to dash? I've stayed here long enough. I want to reincarnate," the female corpse said. Gu Shan was relieved. "I can help you with that." He drew his sword. "Finally, do you have anything else to say?" he asked. The female corpse spoke sorrowfully. "After cultivating for several thousand years, this is what happened. I really don't know what's going on with the samsara. I only want to become stronger. Why do I have to suffer this?" Gu Shan went silent for a bit, then replied, "No one knows the reason, but this is the path that cultivators must walk. To become stronger, one can only risk their lives. As for what happens in the future and what secrets the samsara holds, only by becoming stronger will one be qualified to know." The female corpse nodded and spoke tiredly. "Send me away. I hope that I won't be a cultivator for the rest of my life." Gu Shan sincerely told her, "Have a safe journey. I hope that you'll be lucky in your next life." He swung his sword. The female corpse fell into the forgetting river and quickly disappeared without a trace. Gu Shan sighed, went through where the female corpse originally stood, and continued to climb upwards. For some reason, he felt a bit dejected. Cultivators are always different from other professions. No profession would want to be struck by lightning every single day, go through all sorts of trials and tribulations, be in constant danger of losing their lives. Why are the laws of the samsara so harsh? Is it natural selection? Or are they preparing for something else? While thinking that, Gu Shan continued to climb upwards. When he arrived in front of the third corpse, another faint law fluctuation descended from heaven and earth, affecting his body. "What happened?" the Earth Sword asked. "Ah, if I end my tribulation now, I'll be even stronger than before," Gu Shan muttered. "But you won't end your tribulation." "Yes." Gu Shan turned to the third corpse. It was an old man's corpse. He had already raised his head, looking at Gu Shan with a mocking expression. Tisk, it's so hard to wait for a newcomer, but it's such an impulsive fellow. Everyone's not happy about it," the old man commented. Gu Shan looked up, only to see that all the corpses hanging on the tree had opened their eyes and were looking at him. "Do you know? The first two were the weakest. If you can't offer me something that's enough to tempt me, then die here," the old man said. Making a deal is equivalent to cheating, disqualifying him. No deal, only a battle to the death. Gu Shan shook his head and looked at the corpses hanging on the tree. He waved his hand and loudly declared, "Everyone, friends over here, ah, and friends over there, hello." The corpses all stared at him. Gu Shan cleared his throat and continued, "I'm in a bad mood right now, so I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Seeing that you're all dead, I brought a gift for all of you this time." He drew the Devil King Warden Rod. The pitch-black staff lit up with a red glow. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.